Welcome back, Rico Moneybags, the channel helping you invest in yourself so we can invest in the future. Make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, make sure that bell notification stays lit like that. You guys will not miss out for any future updates. Yes, this is a giveaway stream, crypto giveaway, plus some market analysis from, our special guest. But we're definitely going to get this stream lit before we start bringing our special guests up. So make sure you guys get the numbers up. I know you guys been listening to Jerome Powell, aka GG. Talk. We got some cuts. We got this. We got that. Kind of 300 over 300 million still liquidated. The markets are moving like crazy right now. So this is going to be a perfect day that there's a lot of noise in the space to see what the chart has really just been telling us this whole time. So definitely come up in here, smash the like button, do all that good stuff and all that sharing stuff. That's always important. And then let's get this stream started. Let's jump right into it. Definitely having, massive pullback with the overall crypto market cap pulling back, $3.73 trillion market cap, BTC pulling back, ETH pulling back, BNB pulling back, you're pulling back, I'm pulling back. That's just what happened. Solana, everything just kind of really had a quick little flush going on. We got the Cookie Monster reposted it on X, man. Thank you guys for reposting this on X. It's for your guys' bag, man. Honestly, what we're doing here is for your guys' bag. So I appreciate you, Cookie Monster, and everybody else on X that is reposting this. You guys are some real ones in this space. But yes, man, overall crypto market pulling back pretty hard. And we had some, momentum where things were looking really good. And, let's be honest, that momentum kind of got taken right out the room, and we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. On the week we're still pretty green, but we were listening to this. I just wish he would come out, like, who doesn't wish that GG would come out and just be extra bullish, say we're cutting rates, we're going to make you rich, we're going to make the next person rich. It would probably send the market if he didn't come out with that, like sounding like the guy at Clear Eyes, right? But that's why we do what we do here, right? This is why we do what we do right here. Shout out to Delatoshi, shout out to the Gorilla Fan pulling up. Shout out to we got Monkey Yank up in here as well. Welcome in, everybody. See the stream filling up really fast, so thank you guys for pulling up. Right here, we got BTC. This is why we got to do what we do. We got to kind of filter out the noise with doing some of this technical analysis and seeing how these trades are evolving. And, what's interesting, even with this pullback that we're having right now, it didn't print the sell signal on the daily chart. Now, granted, we still got about 5 hours before this one will print another one. Can you send me the link to join? The other one doesn't work. Okay, no problem. Blunt's locked out, everybody. We got Blunt, and we got him in the chat. He's locked out. 1 second. Let's make this happen. The unscripted, raw and uncut live stream for you guys, man. This is what it's all about. This is the real deal. And the markets are going all over the place. So you guys definitely want the real deal right now. You guys don't want nothing filled with fairy dust right now, do you? Let me send this over here. Sent, my brother, right there. We got a sent. Welcome in. How to join the giveaway? Oh, man, it's going to be super easy. It's going to be super easy. Like, get everybody in here. The more the numbers, the more giveaways. Actually, it just gets a little bit more generous the higher the views are on the stream. But we're definitely going to be doing a giveaway, and we do it super clean and legit with no questions asked of what's going on. We go and use the StreamYard tool, right? And we lock it in with some hashtags. We're not quite there in the show. You definitely got to max engage so we can make it to that part of the stream. But best believe we've been giving away money every single day. I don't even know what we're doing on the stream right now, but I want to surround myself with winners. We've been doing this for almost, 3 weeks, doing giveaways every single day. Every single day, there's been real money on the table. Whether you use that BNB, I'm sending everybody BNB because I'm trying to give you guys the opportunity to get into that 5K giveaway. Whether you use that or not, that's up to you. But let's see. We're waiting for Blunt to pull up, and as Blunt's working in here, let's see if that link works. Hopefully, we're not having some kind of issues with that. But yeah, that's the invite link. Let's see if that one works. Need a link to join. The other one doesn't work. Okay, I sent you one. Let's see. So one of those days, huh? So it's gonna be like that. It's gonna be one of those days, StreamYard, huh? I'm sending it again right now. Okay, so try again. It didn't work. Okay, that one worked. One sec, everybody. One sec. Let's refresh something. What's going on? It is acting funky. Okay, Blah, I'm gonna send you another one. Let's see if this one works. I just sent you another one in your on your X inside your X account. Okay, he's here actually. Okay. And you know what? We're not gonna wait too long. I am gonna just check on him really quick and make sure that he's made it onto the stream. His PFP. So there's something going on with Streamer because even his PFP is not there right now. So Blunt, we got you here, brother.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. That was weird. I just couldn't get in.
All right. You know what? That's just how it is sometimes. Sometimes you get that feeling and you're like, oh my God, I kind of feel like what's going on is like right when it's about to be important.
That's always the way it is, especially with me.
Wow. So nothing's working right now.
Yeah. Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah. Whenever something can go wrong, will go wrong. Yeah, for sure. So yeah, man. Let me welcome everybody in, Blunt, and get everybody warmed up. I'm gonna shield your channel as well before we bring you all the way up, get everybody on the same page. But yeah, let's get everybody in here. Welcome in everybody. I see we got already 42 people already listening. So I got a feeling it's gonna be a solid stream. BNB $25, bro. Here in live stream. I mean, easy for you to get in. I'm not bluffing. We've been giving away money every single day. I don't know what I'm doing over here. I'm just giving it away for some reason. But definitely pull up and max engage. So today we definitely got the market wiping out. And I got somebody that's up here. I want to consider him a very good friend, especially in this Web3 space, because this is one of the days that there's a lot of noise. We got GG, aka Jerome Powell, talking. We got, over 300 million being liquidated. The charts are wiping up. Well, they're wiping down more than anything. And there's just a lot of noise. You can go on X right now. People are not happy. People are happy. And this is a perfect day to kind of bring up somebody that I know. One of the things that we talk about is to block out the noise, right? And that's exactly what we're gonna kind of do today and kind of talk about some technical analysis. And before I got you up here, Blunt, I was talking to everybody on the daily chart how, even though with this pullback, we still didn't print a sell signal on the daily chart, which is pretty bullish. But what's interesting is I was telling everybody, I was like, I know I love this daily buy signal off the 200 moving average. I was like, but when it's going against that 50 moving average, and this is the first time underneath it, this is why we get to do this first mouse gets to squeeze, second one gets to cheese, because I'm not surprised that we might see just a natural, ebb and flow. And maybe, I want to be optimistic for everybody that's listening. Obviously, the channel is very bullish, Blunt, but, maybe it turns around and then it has enough momentum to fill this gap and to break above this 200 moving average and do something like that, right? That's a possibility. We don't know. We're just, we're just saying that can happen. But I'm not shocked that this pullback is happening because, when we came from this pullback right here on the daily chart, this was the first break underneath the 50. Yeah, we bounced off the 200, but this is the first touch on the 50 moving average. So to see a pullback, it's like, all right, this could be the case. First mouse getting the squeeze. They don't want to give no profits back, but really there's a little bit more short still left in here. And maybe it holds the 200 right where the point of control is at, which again, I wouldn't be shocked. But if we fell through that, we're definitely going to see some lower prices down to 103. And I warned everybody, I was like, that could be on the table. So Blunt, I want you to share your screen if you can, brother. We're going to jump right into the mix. The stream is picking up really good. We're not going to make the people wait. I'm just going to, let the beast out of the cage, basically. That's what it feels like. But yeah, and we'll jump right into it. So if you got a screen ready, yeah, I definitely want to, because today's an important day, Blunt. There's a lot of noise. FOMC meeting. This is one of those days that there's just noise everywhere.
Yeah, and this is, I think this is the kind of environment that freaks people out right now when things are going, and I think you can speak to this a little bit. When things are going up, you're incredibly confident. Doesn't feel like you can make a mistake. Every long trade you make somehow works out. And then you get this kind of false sense of security that sets in. And it takes a market like this, or a previous crash as an example, to kind of shake people a little bit and go, hang on a second, there's more going on here than meets the eye. And it's the not knowing what that is that causes the anxiety, right? So I think ultimately understanding what's going on the chart will be something that prevents you from being irrational, even though what you see going on or feel going on in the market is irrational or looks and feels that way. This is a language, I believe. It's based on mathematics. Math is a language, and this is a derivative of mathematics, so it's a language unto itself. And what we've done is kind of taken a handful of very simple tools that pretty much everybody has access to, and kind of helped create a framework to understand what the market's actually telling us, right? And I think if we can kind of be honest with ourselves, that's going to help, right? Like, we're not going to do ourselves any justice by saying things are great, and then we look at our wallets or our charts and go, no, they're not, right? Like, having an understanding of what's going on the chart and being honest with yourself about what that is will go a long way. Right? Now, we talked in our other stream weeks and weeks ago that the test of the 200, which was coming because you broke one level and you found the next, is going to be really key. And we expected to find some support the first time we saw it, just like you demonstrated here on the 50-day, that you were getting some resistance because it was the first touch. We expected support here along the 200 because, again, it was the first touch and they're more probable to find that kind of support. And you can see it bouncing along here on the 200, taking a run at the 50, which you would have expected. Your first attempt failed. Look where this wick from today landed, right on top of the 200, right? Again, kind of giving credence to, hey, if you're going to put orders in these places that might feel unreasonable, there are days that they'll hit. When there's volatility. Price will be drawn to those levels. But I think what's concerning about the daily is this. So, you've been in our other stream. We've talked about oil. We've showed it on the daily, weekly, and monthly charts. And the first opportunity that we had to connect a lower high, we did. This is an example of a lower high on a daily Bitcoin chart. Is this going to mean anything? I don't know yet. But anytime I have an opportunity to do this, it's something that I do just out of habit. So I don't like that we're now making lower highs because, this is a rejection. And we're retesting the 200 MA, and you have the point of control down here for the volume profile. That's that thin red line. And what is that representative of? It's representing the density of volume. And, we know that current price is attracted to past price. These are draws for price. That's why we ended up here. So, if this rolls over, if this is a failed breakout, right? We have our attempt and then we roll over. What are we going to do? We're looking for previous waves lows as a rule, which brings us back down here. We're here. So I think this is still a slippery slope. You had your first test, you got some support, you're coming back to do it again. Are you going to get lucky a second time? Right. So that's what I would be looking for. We have 3 choices for price: up, down, and sideways. So the downside risk is breaking this level, because you're going to be, if you do, you're going to be drawn to arcing over and looking for previous lows. You're also going to be drawn to this lower value range because it's another area where there's, we're averaging the density and price. This is the most dense. But we've seen this a million times. You don't want to fall. See this little gap here? That's the slippery slope, right? You get in there, you're probably going to find your way down here.
Yeah, and then what I want everybody to do is, because today's a perfect day to do like multi-time frame analysis, because you got a lot of action right now. You go down to the 4-hour chart on BTC, yep. And then you understand why we're having this issue. We're blowing right past the 200. We're blowing right past the 50 moving average. So it's like, yeah, this is why we have this selling pressure right now, because we're blowing past all these moving averages. And this is where now a lot of prices that probably don't seem like they're reasonable, when you look at the lower value range on the 4-hour chart, you can see how 105 is realistic. And I was telling people this the last couple of days. I was like, yeah, I want the market to go up. We're above the 200. I was like, but if we broke underneath this, the biggest bear bull indicator, you better bet your butts that we'll see some, some lower time or some lower prices.
And, by just using these different time frames. So I love the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. I like the 4-hour chart, period.
Yeah.
Because I think it gives away a lot of secrets to what's going on the 1-hour chart. So I just stripped off all of the moving averages for a moment. Is all that's on this chart is the volume profile, obviously this trend line that we just drew, and then our script when we're running the 5 EMA and the T line, which is the 8 EMA. And of course, we're still getting our buy and sell signals. If we just run this simple chart, pretty much anybody could trade it. So like, what are we doing? Well, this is here's an obvious toppy area. And then you can see the 5 EMA start to pull down through the T line, which tells us there's some selling going on with enough momentum to do that. And it actually triggers a trend change. So you're short. Whether you wash it down here or not, I think that you could, if you're looking at the day or the 12-hour chart, you're going to see this is pretty easy to pick up, right? What are you looking for on the way down? Lower value range, these previous waves low. Is all you had to do was trade the signals without all the drama, right, over longer time frames, and you'd be okay.
Yeah, right now I'm looking at one, and this is why, and you can leave it on your screen right now. I think if you could go to the 4-hour chart, but what's amazing is this is something that I love because I got to meet you. I know the story how like some people were saying like there's no way that certain things, or how I didn't know, and lately this has been my realization. I feel like it's almost like I love the people on this channel, Blunt. Like, honestly, I love my channel. I love the community that pulls up. This is something that we use to learn together. YouTube doesn't pay any bills. This is how, hey, we keep just refining what we've been working on. And lately, what's been my like latest revelation is that you did have a warning. A lot of times we're quick, and a lot of people are saying it came out of nowhere, and it was like, wait a minute, are we dishing, the blame off because we don't want to take heat for not doing as we should be doing as far as our strategy is telling us? Because when you really start to hold yourself accountable and you're like, you know what, yeah, and you look at the 4-hour chart right now, the sell signal was at 114. Now granted, yeah, you're saying we're already, but that sell signal said, hey, get out of Dodge. 114 could be a good price to get out. Or you could say, hey, I'm going to wait till I get closer to the 200. That's fine. All right, fine. Cool. That's 112. But it was already telling you to get out at 114. You wouldn't care that Bitcoin just wicked down to 109. And this is on a higher time frame. Lately I've been wanting to show people to kind of take the noise out of it, because the markets are so volatile that if you don't have a good enough experience, you're going to get whipped left and right on some shorter time frames. You're going to get spanked around like a redheaded stepchild. Like, that's been the term people have been using lately. It's been so funny. I feel bad for whatever redheaded stepchild. I love you guys, but it's just been making me laugh lately.
Special place in our hearts.
Yeah, for sure. But right now, we have this signal where it's like, okay, BTC told us this signal got it right here. And this is why, we're going to be sharing your website and obviously where people can contact you to use this indicator right here. And you know, and I want to show people how good this is. And we're going to show you guys a couple other tickers. We started off right here on BTC, and you guys can see that on multi-time frames, we're actually breaking lower and lower and lower. But the reason I want you guys to understand this is like this, so like that you're not caught in your emotions day in and day out. This is how you make mistakes in the market, because you don't got nothing to filter all this noise. The minute you have something, you're gonna be like, okay, either I'm shorting this and I'll make money, or I'm taking a step back, I'm gonna go cut the grass, I've been meaning to clean the pool, all the leaves fell in there because it's fall time, you know, and I'm gonna take care of some stuff like that until the market turns back around. But then you don't have to play that emotional roller coaster, because you got some information, some perspective that can guide you through the market. Yeah, I mean, so what are some, like right now I'm looking at prices on the 4-hour chart. I think it's a mature time frame for some of the listeners to look at. And, you know, I'm looking at prices at like, you know, 105 is something that somebody should be able to, you know, chew on that, because it could come down to that, right?
Here's the hardest part, I think, that I've always struggled with, is the magnetism that price has for particular levels, right? And you know, you can't will price up. You can't, you know, rain dances, prayers, and all that stuff. They just don't seem to work. And if you're on the wrong side of something, you're on the wrong side of it. And there's no point in hanging around trying to see if the wind's going to change direction. But if you're on the, and like, this is a good example. Actually, I'll just blow this up a little bit. Like, if you're on the wrong side of this move to the downside, right in here, let's say you're long, you went long here, and all of a sudden it starts to turn the other way. This is a 4-hour chart, so there'd be more than enough time to react, but it could be a shorter time frame. This is just as an example. But if you're long and then all of a sudden you start to get eroded and it looks like, again, you're on the wrong side of it, get out. Like, you know, one of the things that we do here is that we're trying to show you the value of not just price, but the trend that price is working within. Was it up or down? And, you know, we use as a filter the T line, which is the 80 MA, and kind of a trigger as well as a filter is the 5 EMA. And what we've been able to establish over time is that, you know, when price trades on the south side of those levels, like you can see here, you're in a downtrend. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you want to be long or not, or if you are currently long, as long as that divergence to the downside is there, just get out, because you know, there's nothing that you can do that's going to help you until that reverses itself, right? There just isn't. Here's another example, and I'm my own worst enemy sometimes, Rico. Like, if I get on the wrong side of something, it's like, God damn it, well, I'll just wait to see if, you know, maybe it'll turn around, and it just doesn't. It just continues to do this. And again, now I know that as long as that divergence to the downside is there and I'm long, then I'm screwed. I got to get out.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's acknowledging that early is going to be one of the things that allows you to live another day.
Right.
Right. Like,
and Blunt, this is why I think it's so important to, you know, and I'm so grateful to have you up on these streams, honestly, because it's rare for somebody to, you know, wear their heart on their sleeves. You know, you go on Spaces and everybody's just, everything they do, they knock it out the park and stuff. But there are times that we're human. Like the fact that some people are flying around on X Spaces like they're not human, you know, even like myself with Aster, you know, I was making money off of it. I started shorting it. That's where I first started making money. Then I was trying to get into a long, and it was profitable. I should have took all the profit off of it, but because it hit the target that I kind of wanted. But I was like, maybe it'll keep running, and it was like, nope, Friday wipeout. It was like, you know, and I got stopped out. And then I tried to trade it 2 more times, and I got stopped out 2 more times. And I said, okay, let me pull back. And some of the stuff that I'm telling you guys, I'm not up here saying, hey, take a step back, and I'm not doing it myself. Like, you know, a lot of people don't practice what they preach, but I promise you guys, at times, even myself, like, you know, when this stuff kind of went on, you know, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself that room to be able to trade another day. You know, if it takes, hey, you know, I got stopped out 2 days consecutively, the markets are very volatile, I'm not trying to get spanked around that much right now. Let me reset. You know, everything needs to get you got to reset things sometimes.
Yeah. This is a 30-minute Bitcoin chart. And I like the 30-minute chart. Someone introduced it to me. It's something that I never really used a lot, but I actually kind of like it now. And again, when you're used to using like a fractal analysis, multiple time frames, it just kind of fits quite nicely. And to your point about, does anybody have an understanding of when something is going to happen? And I think it's less about the somebody and more about the market itself, right? Because what are we doing here? We're just listening to the market, and we're interpreting what we're hearing into some sort of actionable trading strategy. So one of the things I recommend to pretty much everybody is that you don't trade too many tickers, right? Like if you're a crypto trader, have 5 or 6 things that you can see yourself trading on a regular basis. One of them might be Bitcoin, BNB or ETH, a few alts, whatever it is, right? But that's your mix. Those are the things that you trade, and you know those charts intimately. So there's nothing that's really going to sneak by you on any time frame on any of those 5 or 6 tickers, because you're always going to be looking at them and frequently trading them. And if you were looking at this 30-minute chart, you'll see you get a sell signal on Bitcoin at 9:30 this morning. Now, you have no idea what comes after this candle, but you're presented with it, because all we can see is this, right? We've got this, then this candle shows up. That's what you're going to be looking at. You can see the divergence to the downside is still there, and you have a sell signal. Now you have a choice. You're either going to take this as a short or not. Maybe if you weren't using our script, you would think that's a long, right? But it's not. It's a short. There's your entry candle, and at some point along here, it's going to be obvious that you're going to want to enter. And there's your following candle. All of this divergence is momentum to the downside. Next candle, what happens? It can only reach, like literally to the penny almost, the 5 EMA. And this 5 EMA is still red, right? Which is showing us that there's selling going on. And the distance between the two levels is an example of the momentum. So the more distance, the more momentum. This candle, so you have impulse down, following candle, what does it do? Wicks the 5 EMA and pulls back, still bearish. Following candle. Same kind of thing, right? Can't close above the 5 EMA, and never mind, the T-line hasn't even challenged it yet. If you're long anywhere in here, there's nothing that you can do to fight this. There's nothing that you can do. So
I've tried it.
I know. Yeah, me too. Believe me.
Okay.
So, this is just saying, hey, you know what? We're telling you all the stuff you need to know. You need to be short here. Long is not the trade. You can't. This is the trend, right? This is a green candle. Sure. In a downtrend, someone's going to look at this candle and go, oh, 2 equal bottoms, looks like it might be a bottom, equal wicks. Yeah, I'm going to long this candle. You long that candle all the way to the 5 EMA, and then you get hammered. But you shouldn't make the trade in the first place, because the trend is down. You're literally pushing water uphill.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones, because I've tried to push that water up the hill so many times, and I end up soaking wet, Blunt. I get so irritated because I'm here and it looks like I'm making ground, and next thing you know, of course, you get exhausted.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I look down, and luckily I wear black all the time, and I don't have a white shirt or anything like that, because I ended up, I don't want to push. And this is why these streams are so important to me, because this channel is important. The subscribers are important. And I think that look, we got the Can Do community in here. Shout out to the Can Do community. I see the XPX community in here, super strong. I see the Gorillas in here, super strong. The reason why we need some of this sharpening right here is so that we can better manage ourselves even within our respective projects, right? Where even you know, when most people are having knee-jerk reactions to something, maybe, you know, you don't have to, because you have this information. You're like, wait a minute, we're still in an uptrend. This is, you know, a correction in the space. Or hey, this is a downtrend. I understand why everything else is pulling back, because it's not that my project sucks. It's not that, it's nothing to do with that. It's because, well, the market's pulling back, and we're wrapped to these altcoins. So if you're FEG token, you're wrapped to BNB. If you're Kendu, you're wrapped to, you know, to Ethereum, and XPX, you know, we're wrapped to BNB as well. So these market fluctuations will be like, okay, if the team is still the same, the project is still moving forward, making progress, this is a correction in the market, and it's affecting us in this way. And the more perspective you get, the less emotional you get, right? These emotions move you all kinds of ways. So Blood, I think Ethereum would be a good one to check out next. One more thing too before we go to ETH, actually, because I do want to show everybody the 1 hour chart on BTC, because this is when I stop. This is why this has been my new revelation this month, is the not being surprised. Right? Remember how you're like, you know, everybody keeps saying it came out of nowhere with that gap and and if you put on the 200 moving average and the 50, which obviously those are the ones that I like quite a bit, I'm not surprised that we're seeing this. I'm not shocked. And nobody on this channel, if you guys are rocking with me for real, you know, the market's pulling back. You're like, well, duh, it broke right through the 200. This guy Rico and this other guy Blunt's talking about these moving averages all the time. They get so, you know, we got them on repeat. But this is how you're not surprised, where, okay, if BTC pulled back to 107, you're like, obviously, you know, most likely we'll tap to 200. It's going to fail the first tap because we're clearly broken underneath it. That's some really nasty divergence right there. If you're bullish, that thing's going down, right, on the 1 hour chart. And it's like, even when it starts to turn back around, usually that first attempt fails. So, you know, to see some consolidation, or like you said, a little bit more negative price action, nobody on the channel should be surprised, because now we seriously got some work to do being underneath the 200 moving average.
Well, you know, everything that was once support is now resistance. Right now, price recognizes that instantly, but sometimes the trader the trader doesn't. It might take a while. This is a great example, Rico, on this 1 hour chart, so that you have this, you know, impulse move down, and then you get a big green candle. Right? Not much different than the one we showed on a previous time frame, but, you know, big green candle. And what does it do? It wicks the 5 EMA and closes below the 5, right? So a lot of people are going to long this candle. There's your next candle. Now, this ultimately was a flush candle, right? If you were, you know, if you were running some sort of a stop, you could have been stopped out here, or maybe you just got scared. You just saw this big green candle and you're like, ay, I'm out, right? But when you're running this, you're going to see that that downtrend is still intact, right? All that divergence down is still there, telling you that the signal that you're working under, in this case, a red one down, is still in play. And then when you see this candle, I know we show this all the time, but it's worth showing. When you see the following candle have like equal wicks or form these equal tops, that's the opportunity to re-enter, right? So you have your impulse down sideways, and then, you know, a bit of a snap back higher, just a flush candle gets stopped at a critical level, and then the next candle starts creating this equal top. That's your opportunity to re-enter the short. Or if you missed the original move, you might say, hey, maybe it's worth trying from here. And here we are. Just another example of where we see this flush candle come, scare everybody out of the trade. And this is why I'm valuing the trend over price here, right? Because I have a mechanism to measure the trend. Right. So this is a language. I've just kind of using some simple tools to help me decipher what the heck it's telling us. It's telling us that this trend is down. Yes, that's obvious, but it's also telling us that it's still in play, which is really important. because if I didn't get stopped out or scared out of the trade, this is what I'm looking for, right? Because I've seen this before. So I'm looking to see, okay, do I get stopped out at the 5? Awesome. Oh, hey, maybe I want to add to my short now, right? How many times have you done that? Probably never, right? Because you weren't confident enough that there was still more down to go. What do you think? Is this wick exposure? Yeah, right? This current price is looking for past right now. So we've got the 50 and we have the 200. Well, let's throw on the 20 because that's been long broken way up here. And you can see first attempt on the 1 hour fails. Right? Go back, try again, fails again. Big dump. This one has momentum. What else could we be looking for? Well, you can see the support it was getting from the 500 hourly. And now, what am I missing? There we go. Wow, 1,000 we've broken a long time ago. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to condense my chart to see if I'm rolling over, where am I going to find support? Where has there been, where have buyers and sellers shaken hands in the past? Well, if I start looking to the left, potentially in here. But again, back down to where this wick is. The base, so these two big skis here. I'd be looking for that. And then ultimately the lower value range.
Yeah.
Right? It's just a process of, you know, if this, then that. And what we try not to do is overwhelm ourselves with too many decision-making principles or technicals that we need to analyze and come to some sort of a decision on. Like, what are we doing? We're using fibs, we're using fractals, and we're using the filters that come in different forms. Just by applying that, we can really kind of track price and then trap it within a zone and then trade it. Right? Don't you think that these upper and lower value ranges do a nice job of creating a trading range? This is a 4 hour, so that's a pretty relevant range. Yeah. And we can do the same on any time frame. This gap is a problem, right? On the 4 hour. You start slipping into this, and that's how you end up back down here. Okay, here's your Fisher transform, which is I consider to be a filter because it uses a Gaussian channel to kind of filter out noise. And it doesn't give you a lot of choppy crosses, right? And the ones that I like are the ones that are kind of overbought and oversold. But what it does is it gives you a real honest directional indication, right? As long as you're doing this, you're down. Little chop in here, but then down again. It doesn't act like a stochastic RSI does, where it's just cross, 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 and everybody thinks you got to trade every single one of those crosses, which you don't. Let's look at ETH. So this is the kind of chart where are we trading above the 20, the 50, and the 200? Yeah, which is great, right? Because you've been on a bullish run. But at some point in time, you know, you do this, right? You'll take off and you come back and you check a level because, you know, the horse doesn't like to be too far away from the barn. Price, barn, too far away, and it comes back. Takes off again, comes back.
This is what the chat likes to call the wet noodle. And I got one of my favorite people in the chat right now. That is the real AD. You know, we got Saphira in here. I see Kenny from the Space Penguins. I want to give everybody a shout out because, you know, these streams are only these streams because of you guys. Otherwise, it's just me and Blunt talking about TA and
That's
the
right.
Telegram by ourselves and stuff. So I really want to say thank you to all of you guys pulling up and, you know, having fun in the chat and, you know, us, you know, breaking things down, but also making it fun all at the same time. So I appreciate you guys pulling up. I see you guys in the chat having fun. This is the wet noodle, as you call it, AD. And yeah, it's looking like it's still got some wet noodle to go because, you know, I'm looking at this on the daily chart. If it breaks that 200 moving average to the downside, and I talked about this the last couple of days, like there's a massive gap where it could fill that down to $2,500.
Yeah.
You know, the volume profile on the daily chart, if it broke underneath that 200 and it was, you know, things were going to turn around, that gap is huge where it would fall really fast down to 2,500. And you don't want to be inside it along, you know, if it starts to fill that gap right there.
No, and you know, let's kind of take a larger look here and just switch to a weekly just for a minute. And the weeklies will take out a lot of the noise, right? So that the longer time frames will take out more noise. The shorter time frames become choppy. But when you have a lot of volatility, everything feels choppy. So the weekly is going to do a nice job of, you know, showing you trend and things like that. And you can see way down here, Rico, you get a nice clean signal during the week of May 5th of this year. And, you know, you could have entered anywhere in that week and it would have been a safe trade. This is what you would be looking at though, right? So when you're looking at this chart, what's your resistance above the 50 and the 20 and the 200, which you take out? Well, you can see here, the market doesn't want you to take the 50 yet. Like these big long wicks is price being pushed down. Then you give up. So, you know, so here's your first touch of the 50, right? Mm-hmm. Another example. Failing. Failed right to break one level, find the next, right? There you are at the 20. Where do you bounce up to? The 50. So these are your attempts. Do you want to go to the dance? No. You want to go to the dance? No. You want to go to the dance? No. Flowers and chocolate, go back, right? Get some flowers and chocolate and try again. Oh yeah, this time they do. What you would be watching here is all of this divergence while that's taking place. And that was kind of the point. So as you're watching these candles go sideways, that would be painful because this is weekly. As long as the divergence is here like this, the trend is still up. Remember we talked about impulse up? And if the candles go sideways and don't retrace right away, the takeaway is that this is bullish.
Right. I remember that.
Right. And then it's the second attempt that technically goes through. And then you're off to the races.
You guys have to learn the part of the first attempt and the second attempt because it's almost like, I don't know why, you have to be able to have that level of patience to be able to see it. And, you know, I've been, I've been literally just, you know, refining that part little by little, where it's helped me to this point where, like, you know, you're not as shocked no more when certain things are happening. Right. And, you know, you're still going to be human. I mean, you could almost forget to put your signal on and you've been driving for how many years, right? So sometimes we make little errors, you know, it's natural. We got thoughts in our head and too many wheels spinning or whatever like that. But nonetheless, the more that we pull up, and I appreciate it. We got over 670 people live with us, man. You guys really showed out for this giveaway. Yeah, it's really awesome. And this is what I want. It's like if we can lock arms together when the market's doing all this crazy stuff, we're a lot stronger together. You know, I'll hold Saphir by the feet. He's the one in the chat that always talks about his feet. So we'll all hold hands, and whoever's standing next to Saphir, you got to hold his feet like I'm going to. But nonetheless, it helps us stay strong in this market, and we're not as surprised. And maybe when you're not as surprised, you get to see the opportunities, right? When you're caught off guard, you're so busy playing off of your heels and trying to recover that you're blind to any opportunity. You're just trying to survive at this point, right? You're not looking. I'm just trying to stay with my nose above the water, and this is why I want people to be able to, even if you got to pull back for a few days, let the markets do what they got to do.
Yeah.
But where you can wait for your setup to come back, literally wait for that trade to land on your lap so that you can have a nice solid, entry has been everything, right? Yeah. I think entry is key, right?
Yeah. Good entries is, in my opinion, is really important, right? It really is. But it's not just a good entry. That good entry ultimately has to be a safe entry. Right. Or else it's all for naught. So, like, just to give you an example, this is the weekly ETH chart. So here you can see, price starts to move higher. Some people would cheat that entry, I guess, but this is the candle that actually gives you the confirmation right in here during this week, this big green one. The reason you wait is because, if you try and enter it before it's confirmed, it's unconfirmed for a reason, right? Like, the parameters that are working in the background to flash these signals are also filtering out things that would give you a lot of chatter and a lot of false signals. So the reason that we wait is because there's some sorting out that's going on down here before the market determines that, yes, it wants to move higher. And look, I've tried to cheat this myself, and every time I do, I usually get kicked in the teeth, right? Like, this is good for a minute, and then it, can reverse on you, and then you're looking at the previous lows again and all that stuff. So that's why we wait, but we have no idea what comes after each and every candle that we're trading. But I think patience is key. And, if you did take this and now you're long, now you're into this sideways trading going, this sucks. I'm bored. I want out. A lot of people and a lot will, but you really have to learn to trust your charts. This trend is still up, so it's telling you you're okay. And you're going to have to look at these little red dojis and swallow that, knowing that the trend is your friend. Until you get the signal to exit, you stay in. This will make it easier.
I've been playing with that lately. I swear, everybody, if you're listening to me right now and you got a trading view, go to these. I don't know if there's any kids walking by, but go to these candles, right click on them. Hey, you're not trading, right? For a couple of days anyways. You're not doing anything. You're going to just chill for a little bit. Go right click on you can click on there. You can actually right click on the candle itself as well, and go to hide, and just for fun, which is weird because this, I love to do this. So, even for fun, I was like, I'm not putting candles on for 3 days. I just want to see what I want to study pure divergence. That's it. That's it. I just want my eyes to just only absorb that information. And I think in times like this, when we make it okay, and like I said, I want to say thank you again for pulling up. When we make it okay, and the environment is that we can ask questions, and that, we're here to learn together, and we all make mistakes, it makes it a lot easier for maybe somebody who, is probably not willing to, grab the mic in a space, grab the mic inside of a Telegram, to at least get this from so many different points of views and honest points of views, that I think this is how it helps, this channel really do really well with this amazing community.
I love doing this stuff. And one of the things that happened, this is my own personal experience, is that when I started doing this, I was like, I didn't know anything. I was a lot younger, and markets were not my core competency. I never worked in a bank. I didn't go to MIT. Like, I'm not a math guy. And I don't like puzzles. So, like, this was not a natural, I didn't think, thing that I would take to. But when I first started learning, it was a nightmare for me. The vernacular is different. I was hearing terms that I'd never heard before. Back then, you had to do a lot of your own indicator building. Now it's more obviously automated, but it was very intimidating, and that always bothered me, how intimidated I felt. And I've tried to make it my mission to take all of that stuff away, so that just with a little bit of understanding of some very basic rules, and having an understanding of how price moves, and that you're here to follow, not predict, we can show you how to manage a chart pretty quick. Right? This is the daily ETH chart. There's your buy signal. The only thing that screws traders up is the leverage. If you're using too much leverage over too short a time frame, it's going to be a challenge to manage for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody. So assuming that you're being responsible, a baby could trade this. Right? Like, okay, I buy this one. How long do I because that's the question you always get, right? When do I buy? When do I sell? Like, we're looking at this chart a little blown up, but when you're living all of this up and down price action on a daily basis, that's what people are telling you. When do I buy? When do I sell? When do I buy? When do I sell? When in actuality, it isn't all that hard, right? The reason that it's hard is because you're trying to find a special moment in time, like you're cracking the Da Vinci Code. And really, that's not what we're doing here. We're not predicting where price is going. We can, with some reliability, kind of estimate where the probability of price reaching a certain area, sure. But ultimately, you have one job if you're a trader, and that's to monetize the chart. And this is how I do it. And I can do it over any time frame I want. Here's a weekly chart. How long do I want to be in a trade if I'm buying off a weekly chart? A long friggin' time, right? I'm not buying off a weekly chart to be in it for a week, right? I'm buying off the weekly chart because I'm hoping that, it's going to run for a considerable period. I'm coming off a big downtrend, waiting for a buy signal. I finally get it. I'm going to take it. This is the job. If you weren't already short, by the way. So now you're long. And you're going to stay long. This here is going to make you want to question everything. I get
That's
it.
that first squeeze. That's that first little mouse right there. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys. Look at how many times, whether we're on the north side or the south side of a moving average, or let's say a trend, better off. Let me say that, because that's really what's going on. Notice that you're going to have to deal with that stomach twist of, am I giving my profits away?
Yeah.
So just notice that you're going to have to deal with that. Whether you're shorting, you don't get excluded from being able to not have to test your strategy, or have confidence in your strategy, in your method, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like whether you're south or north of the trade, there's going to be a moment where you're like, am I giving my profits back? But it's like, nah, that's that first mouse. I don't want to be that mouse no more. I want the cheesy mouse now,
Yeah. And the market's always going to throw things at you that are going to make you question yourself. Yes. Whether that's how it's designed or not, but that's the outcome. Everything that happens on the chart makes us question everything that we're in the midst of trying to figure out. Now, right. And this is a great example. So remember, this is a weekly chart. So you've got literally 7 weeks here, almost 2 months of being unable to break that 25.50 level. So, here's your impulse candle up. And if all you were looking at were your candles, right? You're like, man, I don't know. Like, this seems like a waste of time. It's feeling like it can't break through this particular level. I probably should have exited 3 weeks ago, because now I've got dead money for 3 weeks and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, people will wash that trade. But what do we have the ability to do? We have the ability to watch the trend in a way that you just don't normally see. Like, once you see this, you're not going to be able to unsee it. Right? You're like,
No,
man,
I know I can't. That might be actually a future tattoo, and I don't advise it. This is not financial advice, no tattoo advice, but I think it's so cute and funny, and I've learned to adore this. And like you said, like we're just following the chart. It's not.
yeah,
And I love Blunt, and I love you. Like I got a lot of respect for you. Like I know that it's not. I don't want nobody to think that it's designed to do that, right? That's not what we're trying to say. But what I notice is that these scenarios come up where you do get tested to make sure that your methodology is like on point. Like you don't, like you're not without being tested. Like I know I got to, because I was always that first mouse. I could get in a trade back to back and be like, man, that's a perfect trade, Rico. But the minute that trade started to like get my profit started to go away, honestly, I was that scared little mouse at first. And if you know, and I noticed that I had to like just, this is one of the things that I had to get over. And it's like I noticed that whether I'm on the short side or the long side, I have to address this. Maybe it's something that's personal within my own, psyche or whatever. But I noticed that that first mouse gets to squeeze, the second one gets to cheese. That has helped me so much because I identified with that first little mouse at first.
Like, and I'll be honest. Again, this could be a 4-hour chart, right? Because everything's fractal. What we see on one time frame, we'll see on others. But this is a great example of something of a mistake that I would make before I started using this system, is that I would see all these candles and I'd be like, okay, we've had a move up, we've gone sideways, we can't break through a particular level. This thing's going to exhaust itself. It's probably a short, right? And I would set myself up for that, only for it not to be a short. So these are the mistakes that we make every day on different time frames. Again, this is a weekly, so just an example. But how do I now not make that same mistake? Simply by using what you see here. I am not going to take a short. So that looks like a cheater entry for a short, right? 5 weeks ago and nowhere, 6 weeks ago and nowhere. But look, as long as that divergence stays intact, your trend is you're still good. So this is an example. Remember how we showed the candles with the 2 equal tops faking you out? Well, here's an example of 2 equal bottoms doing exactly the same thing. Now, the only reason I don't screw up now and get all excited about a short, and this is really convincing too, right? Hey, you make your short in here and it starts to go red. You start to go below the T line. You're thinking you're home free.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. The buyers never left the building. They were still there doing their thing. This candle flushed out the longs, scared them or stopped them, but the trend hadn't changed. The trend was still good. And lo and behold, your next candle has what? 2 equal bottoms. Well, you have that divergence to the upside in this case, and the beat goes on. As long as you're trading on the north side of these 2 levels, you can stay in the trade. Of course, if you're using too much margin, then that's another issue, and that's a discussion for another day. As long you just follow the yellow brick road. We are not, again, we're not predicting. We're just doing what we're told. How do you know when to buy? Because the market told me when to buy. How do you know when to sell? Because the market told you to sell. And the more experienced you get, right, the more adept you become at managing the sideways action after a move like this. You probably wouldn't want to hang around for up here. Right? There's nothing wrong with taking your prop. This is a home run, right? You do that. This is a home run. So you're going to have no issue taking your profit off at a top. How do you know you might be toppy? Well, let's look at some momentum indicators. Here's your stochastic RSI. I'm going to just blow this up for reference here. There's a lot of people, and usually they're new traders, that are of the belief somehow that you trade the crosses, right? Up and down. You just trade those crosses. Well, that's not how this was intended to be traded, right? So when you have, especially with a stochastic RSI like this, is that you can stay overbought. Like this thing's running at like 94, 95, upwards of 97, right? That's very overbought. What that's telling you is that the buyers haven't left the building, right? They're still there. Representative, as you can see, it's not a mistake that price continues to rise. Now, if you were buying and selling each and every one of these crosses, thinking that, you know, it was going to take you to the promised land, you'd get chopped up because you're not looking at trend, right? You're just looking at this in prices. Knowing that where the trend is taking you on any given move is your edge. These sideways candles, our methodology tells you whether you're wasting your time or was this just an impulse up, and the sideways action is just an indication of bullishness. Is this red candle a reversal candle at this particular cross and you short the pants off of it only to have the next candle double its size? How do you not
You better not.
mistake, right? How do you not make that mistake?
Yeah.
Look, right? All this is telling you, you just stay in. This is, are you overbought? Yes, but the buyers are in the building. That's the takeaway. MACD, right? Same kind of thing. Even though you've got a cross, your moving average and signal line is well above zero. And obviously your Fisher has shown you how true it is to trend on the way down, right? It's really clean. But let's talk about this for a second. This is just our weekly ETH chart. And let's throw on the 20. And yeah, I kind of knew it was there. So nice move up. You get a sell signal. Totally legitimate to take it. But what do you know about this chart? You start to add context to it by throwing on a major moving average, in this case, the 20. And it's just a 20 SMA. Some people like to use a 21. Some people want to use the MAs. Whatever you get a good read off is okay with me. It doesn't matter. I have a set of EMAs ready to go if I can't get a read. But typically, I'm using simples. So here we go. We've got up, sideways, small retracement back to exactly the 20. And then, again, flush candle, next candle, boom, trend never changed. So that's how you know. Price marches up. This sell signal, yes, you take the short, but you have to know that the 20 is here that has the possibility of giving you some support. So we know that we have three choices for price. It's going to go up, it's going to go down, or it's going to go sideways. So if we go sideways, which I don't feel is very likely, I mean, you're going to chop in and around here, and I just don't see that happening. But we've come back because we're trading above the 20, the 50, and the 200. So we know at some point in time, 20, 50, 200, that we're going to come back and tag the 20, which we do here. First touch. So, or I guess it's actually the second touch if we're going to be fair. So we have to be very aware of what happens at this juncture. If we bounce, right? So you have the move down. Let's say you bounce here at the 20, which is a structural support level in this case. Look, right? You can kind of make a case for something in here. And is all I'm trying to do is just line up that with some past points. But you can see that it's somewhat structural.
Yeah.
So if we get the support here and you bounce higher, the conversation that you're going to be having in a couple of weeks is, oh my God, the chart's double topped, right? Which is going to change this conversation that we're having right now completely. But that's the upside potential, right? That's the upside. Bounce down here at the 20, structural support, and you're going to start to march up and probably make an equal high or close to it. And we're going to be having the what happens next conversation. So what this turns out to be is, here's your move higher. nice move up. This is just a legitimate retracement that
Yep.
gets support off a specific level that you might expect, and price bounces and starts to look for the next high. Downside, you break the 20 and break this structure, and you start to look for the next level down, because you break one level, you'll find the next. And that next level is the 50 that's in and around the upper value range as well. So that would be a draw for price to the downside. And of course, if you don't hold it and you fail it, well, then you just continue to look down. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This level will get tagged again. There's too much balanced price in here not to get revisited at some point. And
100%.
So I know that doesn't.
Blunt, I want to share something with this amazing community, if that's all right with you, before we bring up the next ticker. We got over 1,000 people. Like I got to share something with these people. It's important to share this stuff. So I'm gonna bring your screen down for 1 second, and I want to share something important with them. So boom, I'm gonna share this right here. This is important for you guys right here. Okay, we're about to do this giveaway, but I also want you guys to come over here and give Blunt a follow, because this is why we do this on this channel. It's got to be more than just fist pumping, charts going up. Like, we have to refine this, and we got a really good stream in this. Thanks to all you guys. If you guys can help support growing this channel over here, because the more we get Blunt to show more people, the less panic selling we see in the space. Honestly, that's the way that I see it. So the fact that we have this opportunity right here, if you guys can come over here, give Blunt a follow, as well as one segundito. Right here, come and check out his website. This is a great spot where you guys can read this, go through this, and also send them a contact. Say, what, I like that indicator you've been talking about, mister. If I get this indicator, will you help me set it up, mister? And word on the street is he will help you set it up. So
you've heard something. Yeah.
No, what'd you say?
I said you've heard something.
Exactly. Man, I keep my ears to the ground, Blunt. I'm active. I care, man. I care. That's why. That's really where it comes from. All right, so let's go ahead to this giveaway tool really quick. I appreciate you guys pulling up so much. You guys are absolutely amazing with the numbers that we got today. We're going to do another giveaway. I'm not going to let Blunt slip away just that fast. I know we're on the hour mark. Blunt, I'm not sure how much time you have or what you're working with.
I got all the time. I booked more than enough for you, so you're good.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm actually just, we got right here. We're barely on Ethereum. I know we got people in the Solana trade. I know we got people in the BNB trade. We haven't even got to the 5K giveaway on XPX. So there's a couple more things that we gotta talk about. And obviously I appreciate your guys' engagement. So we're going to be doing not only this giveaway, but we'll do another one, because obviously the numbers are amazing, not because me and Blunt are super handsome or anything like that, which we would like to believe, but really it's because we're dropping this alpha right here and you guys are loving it. So I really appreciate that. And it makes it easy to do this. It really makes it easy for us to engage like this and go the extra mile. So that's why I want to check with Blunt if we can just get a little bit more, because when we have a stream like this, you never know what stream. That's why I'm so consistent. I pull up, sometimes there's 50 people, sometimes there's 100 people, sometimes there's 400. Next thing you know, there's a stream with this, amazing day with a lot of noise and a perfect day to go over some TA, and we got 1,100 people live. So go in the comments right now, put hashtag XPX. We're about to pull this really quick, and as we're talking about this and we're getting these hashtags, I'm going to talk about XPX's giveaway really quick and kind of talk about what we got going on, and then we're going to jump back into talking about the Solana trades, because I know my brother Dabatola, aka Scott, you guys know I rock with him really hard in the space. You guys see him. If you guys see him, say what's up. He's in a long trade on Solana, and the markets are shaking everybody about. So we're going to check out Solana, and considering the fact that we rock with Feg Token, the smart DeFi ecosystem, so much that we launched XPX on it, and all the projects are on the BNB chain. So of course we got to cover BNB, because as BNB moves up and down, especially projects like XPX that have, just to give you guys exact numbers, I don't want to fluff them up on you, we have 59.56 BNB in asset backing, and that helps us stabilize our price, and that's why our chart stays looking really good, because that's what allows us to have asset backing, which allows you guys to take either 30-day interest-free loans on your XPX tokens, or it really stabilizes the price. And, that's nothing to turn a cheek on. That's right there to make sure that XPX is strong on the day in, day out. And we've seen that the smart DeFi tech does really work. So obviously, considering that we got this much BNB in asset backing and also that much BNB in all of smart DeFi, we'll talk about BNB as well. So let's start off right here with XPX really quick, as you guys are getting hashtag XPX. If you guys are listening over on X right now, because most of the numbers are on X, come over here, rush over to YouTube right now. I'm going to give you guys some time. I don't even have it set where you got to wait a certain amount of time to put a comment. You got to come over here because the StreamYard tool only picks up the comments from YouTube. So if you're posting comments on X, it's not picking it up. You're going to miss out on this BNB. And that BNB can get you into this next little giveaway. I'm kind of just laying the breadcrumbs to you guys to snatch up this free money sitting on the table. Let's start off right here with XPX, man. X Pays X, a project focused on all things off-ramp. And we've been doing that. We've done over 6 figures in paid orders. Very solid looking daily chart, considering that we've been live for over 16 months, providing staking, providing lending tools, providing off-ramp solutions, not only for individuals, but also businesses. And, when we're in crypto and you see something that's been live, and this is the daily chart for 16 months, this is a very healthy chart. And that's a big shout out to the team, and a even bigger shout out to this amazing community that you guys see in the chat right there. So if you guys are looking for a safe play and a long-term play where you guys can say, hey, I want to be able to be in the market, I want to find a play on the BNB chain, a solid utility play, XPX is definitely the spot, because the chart don't lie. It's right there, right before your guys' eye, how strong this community is, how strong our smart contracts are, with staking for passive income, with asset backing, with over 59 BNB that allows you guys to take 30-day interest-free loans, with real-world impact utility that you guys can use. Put gas in your car that you off ramp using Solana. Put some money on your family's bills using non-KYC bill payments. And this is all stuff that's tangible that you guys can use today. And just to get you guys in the door of XPX, just to make it that much easier for you guys. I'm paying for you guys to get in on a project that's like in the phase of when Amazon was only shipping books. Okay. Everybody thought that was silly too, when Amazon was only shipping books. And we got a lot more to do. We got a lot more to continue to deliver as far as utility. These are our baby steps, and we're doing really good. We're doing really good. So come over here, give us a follow at XPX Token. Join the Telegram as well. Let me get the Telegram, because the giveaways are going to be in there anyway. So you might as well join. This is where you guys are going to get your BNB from. And let me share this right now. I'm giving you guys time. I'm milking it on purpose for all the people on X. You guys know I'm literally milking it so you guys can make it over here and put hashtag XPX and get some of this money so you guys can get into this winner takes all at $2 million market cap. That's not that far away when it comes to crypto projects. And obviously being live over 16 months is the easiest entry for a 5K giveaway that you can get, because it's a play that's been live, like I said, for over 16 months. So $25 gets you in for one entry, $100 for 5 entries, $500 for 30 entries, $1,000 for 70 entries. That at $2 million market cap, we give away 5K. What's cool about this, at $2 million market cap, we're really close to all-time high being 2.7. And usually there's FOMO around there. And we could push past that and hit $5 million market cap, we'll do another 5K giveaway. And I got together with somebody really, really cool in the XPX community, somebody that's been here since the very beginning. And me and him decided to go half on the 10K giveaway at $10 million market cap, because we got utility, we got the smart contracts, we need the pump now. So we're incentivizing people along the way to, for all of us to bring the hype and bring the pump, not only to XPX, honestly, but I think it would do good for all of Smart DeFi, for a Smart DeFi project to break that psychological barrier in crypto of that $10 million market cap that they usually pump up a lot higher. So let's go ahead and pull this giveaway, and then we're going to jump into some more plays. Wow, 137 entries, man. You guys are not playing around. Today's one of those streams, man, and that gives, I don't know what that does. It gives me like a second wind almost. So here we go, man. Thank you guys so much for pulling up. If I win, I will double it and and do another spin. Okay, just let you guys know, because I like that's the only way you win, if you enter. Bro, you've been winning as well. You've been winning, and you know what? This stream is so lit. We're gonna do another draw right away, and then we're gonna give it back to Blunt, and we're gonna jump into BNB. We're jump into Solana, kind of give you guys the idea what's going on. I kind of talked about XPX right now. It's super bullish. But let's do one more giveaway. It's so hard for me to only do one spin when I do a spin because it's like I like to see people win. Why wouldn't I want to see that? Like, if you want to see, wouldn't you want people to be happy to see you win? So it's like, man, you got to really feel like that towards it. So Wander, this is like another one of your wins. So you're like a little rabbit foot as well. Let's draw another one. Let's see who this is going to be. If Blunt also wins, we'll double it as well, and then we'll do like another one, give it to the next person, just to make it kind of funky and a little bit fun, right?
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. Okay, let's see who it is. Oh, Zest for Life.
Oh, appropriate.
E5G. Okay. Zest for Life. I like the background picture. Very nice. Okay, it's very important before we move on. Zest for Life. I'm gonna pay attention to the chat so we can keep the stream rolling. But the Wander, we have already given you a winning, so I have your Telegram @handle. But Zest for Life, I need you to put your @handle for Telegram in the chat right now because there's going to be Zest for Life 2, Zest for Life 3. It's going to be a whole bunch of fake Zest for Life trying to get your BNB so they can get in for that 5K, and I don't want that to happen. So Blunt, I'm gonna pass this back over to you. We got the community lit. I'll do another one after we talk about some more technical analysis for this amazing community because I can't ignore that we're over 1,100 people live, and
That's
that is
awesome.
all thanks to them and stuff. So, Blunt, let's go ahead and bring your screen back up. Zest for Life, please post your @handle for Telegram. It's very important. Trust me, I know this game. I've seen it where people. I'm gonna have so many Zest in my DMs right now. It's not even funny. So, if you're a scammer, don't even do it. I'm gonna save you your time from creating even fake accounts because it's not gonna work. So just save your time. I'm even gonna appreciate the scammers' time. Don't even waste your time. I'm gonna catch this and do it the right way. So, let's go back to Blunt's screen and talk about. We got a lot of the smart DeFi, that's all BNB. So BNB is a big one that is on topic, and
we're gonna do BNB next. We're gonna do Solana for our friend though.
Yeah, absolutely.
First.
Cool.
I'm gonna start with the weekly chart for a reason because this is obviously it's been a little chaotic, right, in the market, and there's the big move down. And could we have seen this? Yes, we can show you how we saw it. You just shorten up the time frame and you'll see it on that 1 hour and 4 hour, kind of like we showed. But just as an example, here's what happens. So you have that big impulse down and you start to get some green candles again. You snap back and geez, you wicked all the way up to 3/4 of this disaster candle. And again, I'm showing you a weekly for a reason. But has the trend down changed? No, right? Even this weekly candle simply wicked the 5 EMA. I don't know if you can see that, but it literally wicked it and then pulled back. So the takeaway is this is just a green candle in a downtrend. Even after this big move down that brought Solana all the way to $142 from 230, it snapped back a little bit, but the trend is still down. And here we are today in this week's candle. Now, on this weekly chart, kind of post here, no reason to think of going, you didn't see much of a reason to go long. If we change this to a daily chart, and I'm going to back this up to that big disaster candle that we see, and we can demonstrate how we picked this up, this big move up here. So we actually had plenty of time to take a short or to exit a long or whatever, but there was plenty of time to do that. But you can see what happens when you have this big pullback in price, pulls that shorter time frame moving average down quite quickly. And everyone on the daily starts talking about, because you got to remember, this is the weekend. If you recall, this was a Friday, right? So, I remember being in some spaces that weekend, and that I think Friday and Saturday night, and everyone's like, well, is this a buying opportunity? And my perspective is this is still a downtrend. And here we are. Right. So this trend down was still legitimate. And what we're seeing here, I think, is going to be a failed breakout. And we're going to, excuse me, come back and take out that previous wave's low. And when we look at the volume profile, where are we? We're failing the point of control. So nobody wants to take it above a level, a level that's considered average. Let's say that, right? And all of a sudden you can start to see the fade. You've already broken this level quite significantly with these two wicks. So, yeah, you can start to see how that would happen. But this is why fractals, multiple time frames, are so key. So here's the 4-hour chart. Here's the big dump. You had plenty of opportunity before it happened way up here. And it's just, that's how you utilize these time frames. And what you'll see, let me do BNB first, and we'll show you another chart where we're trying to get some confluence on time frames to show you how you can catch a runner. The BNB chart is a little different than ETH and Bitcoin.
Yep.
But
BNB tends to do his own thing sometimes.
And that's okay.
Yep.
I think we all appreciate the change.
Yep.
It's had, like, again, I'm going to go to a weekly because it's going to filter out a lot of the noise. But this has just been a real bullish chart. And if you're new to trading, or you're like, I don't want to take a lot of risk, and I don't want to be chart watching all the time, this is a great chart where you can see that just simply taking signals over longer periods of time, like the weekly, that are very clean. There's not a lot of chop in here. And when there is, there's still reasonable trades. But you can see you catch the highs and the lows quite nicely. Like you could make you could buy it something at 5% leverage and just watch it ride, right? Like you don't have to use a lot, but just simply taking these signals over longer time frames will help you get in the groove in kind of understanding the ebb and flow of, being in a trade.
100%.
Great example, green candle, signal, divergence occurs. And as long as that's the case, you stay in the trade long. A little sketchy up here, you can see that your momentum indicators have started to roll a little bit, but let's put the 20 up here just out of curiosity. So we haven't checked it yet on the weekly, aside from a little bit back here. But actually, I shouldn't say that. Look, here's the wick from this candle. Boom. Hit the 20 and bounced. So why do we leave orders in areas that seems ridiculous? That's why. Sometimes they get filled. But even this big move down on the weekly, which happened very quickly, it literally was within a day, didn't have enough momentum to change the trend. Interestingly enough, and you're still getting support from the T-line. This is still a bullish chart. Like until this breaks to the other side, it's still a bullish chart. And if it does break, where's it coming to? Well, you would expect it to look to the 20 and or the 50 and the 200, wherever it shows up. Nope, doesn't show. But that's, you break this level and you'll start looking down here. You don't hold the 20, you start looking down again. And it's just repeat play, repeat play, repeat play. And what you see in crypto, you'll see in in the stock market, in the commodity market, everywhere. So let's look at Aster again, and let's change the view. So for those of you that are using TradingView, which is a great platform, it really is. There's a handful of really good ones. TradingView is certainly one of them. The other one I like is called TrendSpider, but I think most of us will be using TradingView. Up top here in the right, beside your ID name or whatever, there's this little square, but if you click on it, it just gives you different layouts. And I'm just going to click on the one that gives me 3 horizontal looks. And let's see here. Got to get to the right symbol.
This is the alpha, you guys. This is the in-between stuff you guys need. Oh, beautiful.
What am I looking for? Here we go. So this is what I would be doing with the handful of things, sorry, just excuse me for 1 second, that I would likely be trading. I'll be looking at them on various different time frames so that I can get an understanding of the confluence. So let's just say, as an example, I'm looking at my 4-hour or my 1-hour chart. What I'm looking for is an early entry. When I'm on the 4-hour, 1-hour charts, I'm usually trying to sneak an entry onto the daily, right? Just like how we showed you on Bitcoin that you could see something coming before the actual move happened, right? Same kind of concept. So if you're thinking of, let's use the current candle. So let's say you're thinking of going long, right? What we're looking for is, coming out of this move to the downside, is a signal on the 1-hour chart that goes green. If I ultimately get one on the 4-hour chart that goes green, there's a pretty good chance that I could potentially be into some sort of trend move, or certainly a good solid wave, or if you're really lucky, a big shift altogether. And when you're in those big shifts, you would monitor the progress of that trade the same way. So if you trigger up here on the 1-hour a green signal, hey, you're good to go. I bet you we already have one probably on the 15-minute. Shoot. Yeah. So we're good. We've already have one on the 15-minute. 4-hour hasn't produced, or the 1-hour hasn't quite produced one yet, but that's what we're hoping for, right? We can get enough momentum upwards to help trip a signal to the upside. And then what becomes a target? Well, you can see here, you want to get into, this was your goal the whole time. You wanted to get into this gap, because price can move up into these gaps quickly because there's nothing there to stop it. It's going to look for past price. What's a representation of past price? Nothing better than the point of control on the volume profile that's averaging the density of volume for like 200 candles or whatever it is, measuring it back. So that's going to be a target for me. And of course, if you break through this level, you're going to look for the previous wave's high, and so on and so on. Then what you're hoping for is, on your 4-hour chart, you actually trip a buy signal as well. So what you'll end up having is that confluence that we're talking about, where we've got the 1-hour chart with a green signal saying, yeah, you're good to go. And you may have been looking at the shorter time frame too to ease your way into that. But once you got it on the 1-hour, you're hoping to get it on the 4-hour. And if it shows up on the daily, well, then you're into a runner 9 times out of 10. And that's what you wake up for every day, right? But no one tells you how to get there.
They don't.
right?
They
Oh,
don't.
I'd love a hook into a runner today. But, while you're sitting on the bus, that's about as far as it goes because you have no idea how to do that. Well, this is how you can do it. There's lots of other ways, I'm sure, but this is how I do it. And it kind of works. And it's relatively simple, is all we're doing is waiting for to be told go or no go. That's it. This is, you're always looking for that turnaround. We've talked about this on Aster. You've had a few kind of false flags, I guess.
That's one way to put it.
Where it hasn't really materialized. And I think it's frustrating to people because the narrative of Aster is all positive.
Yes.
But yet you look at the chart and you're like, well, the chart doesn't show that.
Right. I'm one of them. I got to be. I keep it. I think this is why we got such a good stream. Is that I wear my heart on my sleeve with this community, and it's good to do that. Right. I'm one of those people that I like the narrative just because. I like the narrative, right? You have moments where you want to like a narrative, to say that you're not going to like no narrative, it's kind of hard, right? Because especially because I had exposure to what CZ has done with like BNB. Like I could have just, when I got into crypto 2017, and then Binance Exchange comes to life, I'm over here having fun trading BNB at $30, from $18 to $30. I'm buying motorcycles. I'm living my life blunt. I'm like, oh my God, I'm the next Rain Man. And it's like, I could have bought it and held. I wish I had your indicator back then as well. It probably would have just told me to buy a long time ago and just hold. But, we're giving people that freedom right here with all this information. It's a great vibe, and it's this community really that makes this all possible. So shout out to them. We're going to be doing another giveaway, fam. So I see the stream still picking up numbers. You guys are amazing for that. I really do appreciate it. We're going to squeeze Blunt for a little bit more time and stuff. We've been live for an hour and a half. See if we can squeeze for another 30 minutes, kind of peek at some things. And then because I think right here, this multi-time frame analysis that you were just doing, and he was like, I just took it off, Rico. A lot of people don't show you how these things evolve. A lot of times when they show you on even on YouTube, like on a short, they're showing you what took hours to set up in 30 seconds short.
Yeah.
And nobody's showing you that, hey, it took this, that, and the third to line up, where now when I play this on a 30-minute short and I'm playing it fast forward on, because you can fast forward things the way the chart moves on TradingView. A lot of people don't know that. And you can move the chart all the way to one side and then you can just hit fast forward and it'll move all the candles. And a lot of people are showing you what honestly takes what Blunt is showing you right here, where it took the 1 hour. And maybe it's just a trade.
This is just, I've kind of shortened the time frames up to give you guys an example, but just starting at the bottom. That's just a 5-minute time frame for Aster. That's what this is down here. And you can see you get your buy signal on the 5-minute right down here. So you could take that if you're trading the short time frames, whatever, you can take that trade. Perfect entry. Now we look to the 15-minute and you finally get your signal on the 15-minute chart. So you're starting to get that reassurance that you're on the right side of something. We look up here at the top to our 1 hour time frame. You can see the green candle, right? That's an hourly candle. So it's representative of these 4 15-minute candles, right? And you're just waiting up here for it to go green. And that would be, for me, that kind of confluence that we're talking about that will help you one day land that runner that you wake up dreaming about. Like, they don't necessarily fall right onto your lap. You have to be at the right place at the right time.
Right.
So how do we do that? Well, we're using the script. Okay. So that's obviously giving us the indicators that we need, or the signals that we need. But how do you make sure that because you can't watch the chart all day long. Well, if your entry, if your earliest chart that you're going to look at to enter on is off, in this case, I'll say the 5-minute. Well, what am I going to do? I'm going to set an alert on TradingView. And I do this all the time. And just simply right click on your chart and just go to add alert. Right? Click on add alert and a window will come up and it provides you with a condition, right? So I've got, the condition is price crossing, Let's see. Let's leave it that price crossing. Looking for, why is it not giving me? Well, that's weird. It's not giving me the T line. So I'm doing something wrong. What am I doing? Here we go. Nope, still not giving me the choice. What I'm trying to do is just set when the 5 EMA crosses through the T line. Okay, so that's all I'm doing on that 5-minute chart, just as an example. So I'm going to get a notification, either in an email or a text message, or it's going to flash up on my computer screen that parameter has taken place. So now I'm going to go to my screen and I'm going to analyze that chart, and I'm going to go, okay, yeah, I can see what's going on. I think I did get a signal. So yeah, I'm going to take that 5-minute trade. That's how I'm at the right place at the right time. I just let TradingView, just let the chart tell me, because I literally can't sit there all day long to wait for that condition to trigger, knowing full well that my objective is to get a good entry, that it starts to roll on the other time frames. You know, whether you be looking at a 4-hour a daily and a weekly, or 5:15 in an hour, or an hour and a 4-hour in a daily, whatever it is. This is the kind of confluence that I'm looking for. And this is how you can catch a runner. But how do you know how long to stay in the trade? Now that you're in the right place at the right time, and you have this scripting mechanism to help guide yourself through the trade, keep you on the right side of it, tell you when to get in. How long do you stay in? Remember the question, when do I buy, when do I sell? Well, there are going to be people that will be trading that 15-minute time frame, and they're going to say, as soon as I get 4 or 5 green candles, I exit. That's my rule. That's fine. Like, that's okay. Everyone's going to have a rule, or maybe it's another form of a target that gets hit, and they exit. And I will often get accused, and I acknowledge this, that people will say, you take on too much risk, dude. You know, you're in the trade too long. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not taking on too much risk. And I don't believe I'm in the trade too long, because I'm just letting the chart tell me how long to stay in the trade. Like, you can exit at 4 or 5 candles, but are you going to be bitter that there was another 15 that followed? Probably. And you're going to go, well, why? I should have stayed in the trade. Yeah, you should have, but you had no tool to tell you why you should be doing that. So you're in on this 5-minute, it starts to run. Like, this 5-minute candle is actually looking a little healthier. 15-minute looks better, probably shooting up here for the point of control on the 15-minute, right? And this 1-hour candle hasn't given us a signal yet, but if everything keeps up, it will. And then we have a target to the upside. And ultimately, you know, we can go and look to the 4-hour and hope that we get a 4-hour signal, right? Here's our 4-hour chart. Now, Rico, we like, you know, how do you sneak an entry on the daily chart? Off that 1 and 4-hour, right? So you get the confirmation on the 1 hour that we hope to get, that we got really good entries on. Again, it's good entries, right? You can say, oh, I entered off the 1 hour, but, you know, maybe your 1-hour entry is kind of crap, right? But if you're using this kind of methodology, you're going to get in with the ebb and flow of the market, right? You're going to get in with a good signal. You see that divergence taking place on the 5, telling you there's some momentum there. That's a good thing. You reach the upside targets that you would have identified. The 15-minute, same kind of positivity, but you haven't hit the targets yet, which is letting you think that, hey, maybe there's something to this, right? But if you get the signal on the 1 and 4-hour, then you're in your runner. And then once you're in it, well, let's say it moves. Let me just go back to the one view here for a second. But let's say it moves on this 4-hour chart. Whoops. Right? Coming off the downtrend. Let's say it does one of these. This is the 4-hour. Right? So how long do you stay in the trade? You stay in the trade till it tells you that it's time to get out. You just let the chart tell you. So your entry off that 5 and 15 minute is probably way back here, which is essentially the bottom on the 4-hour. And you look like a genius, but you actually had a methodology to pick up what's going on because you're looking inside these candles fractally. So you had a great entry, you get it, and it just stay in the trade. So I'll be accused of staying in this trade too long. And I'm like, well, why? The market's telling me it's in an uptrend. Why would I exit? I don't get it. Right? Now, if I didn't have that ability, yeah, totally get it. But that's not the case. Market tells us how long it's safe to stay in the trade. And that's why you want to find things that trade nice and smooth too, right? So you don't have to worry about giant wicks and things like that.
Well, the other day we're hanging out in the FEG chat, and shout out to all the gorillas in the chat. I know there's a lot of you guys up in here that support Blunt. Why he's doing these sessions in the FEG chat Tuesdays and Thursdays. You guys could definitely catch some of this alpha, and we have to have it. It can't always just be hype because I'm not doing you guys the right justice. We have to be able to refine this. And to be honest, man, I've been in this space for such a long time. It's been a long time where you guys have seen me in spaces, and sometimes it's hard for me to listen to some of the stuff. I'm not going to say names or nothing like that, but even when I hear some pitches, I'm like, man, I wish I could have pitched that project for them. I feel like they got something good, and it's just like, this was like the first time when I met Blunt, I'm in that FEG chat, and I'm just going in there to support. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And it was, a lot of stuff was ringing bells to me, right? Because when you think about trying to absorb price action, technical analysis, plus you got news and you got noise and you got all these things, like you need to start somewhere where you can start to filter this out. And I think like your approach was like one of the most realistic approaches, right? Like, hey, if you can do what you're told and kind of build a strategy around this, it really showed that over time somebody can really absorb this and really get good. Because even myself, and I want to say this with anybody, whether you're just starting off or you've been trading for a while, I survived the bear market, so I know that I can print because I had to, right? So I know that I did. Otherwise there wouldn't be no channel, because I did really good during the bull market. But this is why I hold myself so accountable, because I want you guys to understand the same thing, and also I want to make sure that I don't forget. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not just saying it just to make sure, but I don't want to forget the last cycle, what happened. And I think that this time is going to be a lot easier for me to accept when the charts have turned around, the trend has turned around, because I did really good during the last bull run, but that bear market was so long that I had to use all the funds that I made during the bull run. Every single, because you know what? I kept thinking it couldn't go lower, Blunt. There's no way they're going to take it lower. They can't, not for a whole another 6 months, not for another 8 months. No, there's no way from 50 to 30, and then bam, there we go at 30, from 30 to 25. It just kept going down all the way to 15K. And if I would have monetized that chart during that bear market, I would have been even with more capital to start the next bull run. Now, that's what the channel is supposed to be about, where we get a good information that no matter what the market conditions are, we're doing our best to trade another day and to better ourselves on another trade.
Yeah. And I think that hopefully the takeaway for a lot of people will be that it doesn't matter what you're charting. The methodology that we're using is exactly the same in every instance. This is this is US government bonds. It's the 10-year and a weekly chart. And it's, if you go into an X space in the evening, there's going to be someone talking about interest rates and bonds and, where are these things going to go? And our job is really to be indifferent to that stuff.
Right.
Where's it going to go? I don't know. The chart will tell me where it's going to go. But, I can't sit there and pontificate about, what's going on in the world that's going to make me believe that, hey, that's where it's going. All I do is this. I will see a signal to buy something and a signal to sell something. From there, we have a handful of tools and a methodology to help us manage where price could be going potentially. Now, this weekly chart, there we go. It's the monthly chart that I was looking for. So quite a while back, way back here, you can see in 2006 and 2007, this is the 1,000-day moving average on a monthly chart, which means it represents, is it 40 some odd years of price history? I'd have to check. It's 40 or 80, but anyways, it's a lot. And you double top there, and on the monthly chart, you broke. All right. Now, we know that price likes to go where it's been before, right? That's what it does. In the event of a downtrend, we know that current price is looking for past price. That's what it does. So back up here, you double top at 1,000 days, right? So that's why this is identified here. Trading above the 20 and the 50 and the 200 on that time frame, well, two of them anyways. You double top and you start to break down. You break the 20, you break the 50. Again, these are monthly charts, right? So there's 4 weeks inside each and every one of these candles. Just to give you an example where this goes. Now, why am I showing you this? Because there's a gentleman in my Telegram chat. He was one of the first people in the FEG streams we used to do 5 years ago, and the last one to leave. And when he first started, he would say, all I know is that you buy the green ones and you sell the red ones. Like, I don't know anything about charting. And today he's probably one of the more proficient traders that I know. And, he's gone on and he's learned other things, and he's really worked hard at, perfecting and honing his craft. And one day it was just he and I in the Telegram group when we started looking at different charts, and this was one of them. And as we're talking, like, you got to remember, rates were less than 1%, right? Like back at one point in time. And as they started to rise, this is what I look at on a chart, right? I see all of the upside resistance in this case, right? And I'm like, okay, so in the event of a breakout, and you start to break all of that resistance, where does that put us, right? So, because we know that when we break one level, we find the next. And if we break that level, we find the next. And if we break that level, we find the next, and so on and so on and so on. Now, is it a big ask to say, hey, you're going to break all of that on a monthly chart? Of course. But what you have to recognize is that this is essentially a 40-year downtrend that has been broken. Okay. So just to kind of blow this up again here. So you're looking at your chart and you're going, wow, if this thing was to break out to the upside as you start to, break one level and find the next, I'm like, dude, this thing could hit, the 10-year can hit 5%. Now, telling people that you thought the 10-year was going to hit 5% when it was 1 or 2% is insane, right? No one's going to believe you, but this is how price behaves. Am I on the north side of the T line and the 5 EMA? Yes. So I'm still in an uptrend. Did I have support of the 20? Yes. Did I break trend? No. Break one level, find the next. Break one level, find the next. Am I still in an uptrend through all of this? Yes. Did you break trend? No. Oh my God, what's that? There you are. Now, there's no crystal ball, there's no tea leaves, didn't read a palm or anything like that. That's not the point. The point is that as long as you understand how price behaves and you have a mechanism to manage the trend, you can be okay. Right? Like, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to take all of the anxiety out of doing this because it's intimidating. You're playing with real money that you worked hard for.
Right.
Right? So, losing it isn't really on anyone's dance card, right? The idea is to make more. So we're just going to do what we're told. The market's telling us that this is a buy signal, so we're going to take it. And it just turns out on this time frame that things are okay. And you just continue to do what the chart tells you to do. Are you going to have moments that will cause you stress? Yes. Will you at times maybe close your trade because it's too much stress? Probably. But there's never anything wrong with taking your money off. Never. And don't worry about the pennies. Like none of you, I wouldn't want to see anyone stress about a nickel, right? It's not worth it. If you're feeling like you're in no man's land and you're profitable and you're just unsure and it's causing you stress and anxiety, close it. There's nothing wrong with that. You can always re-enter, right? And we show you, like this candle here, just as an example of an opportunity if you got scared to re-enter, right? Oh, I don't like that. A big wick down, big red candle to follow the next month. You close your trade in somewhere in there, and then this happens, right? Well, when you see those equal bottoms, you're going to go, oh, yep, I'm back in again. And the beat goes on until it doesn't, right? But this is just a really good example of breaking one level. Like, what could happen if? Well, the answer was, holy smokes, this thing could go to 5%. Why? Because A, it's going to want to go to past price, and B, the double top. Current price revisits past. If you remember anything, remember that. Current price revisits past. So here we are in the 10-year. We're, got a sell signal a little while ago. What could we be looking for? Maybe the 50. And it doesn't necessarily mean that price just shoots down and finds it. Time and price come together and eventually they meet, and they typically will meet in places where, I would look for areas like in here where you can cut across tops and bottoms and things like that. Maybe it'll meet in here. And when you do, of course, what happens? It's going to be the first touch of the 50 on this time frame. Does it bounce? Does it get support? Or God forbid, or in this case, you would like it to fall because it's interest rates, but does it break the 50 and look for the next level down? We don't know what comes after each and every current candle on any time frame we're working off of. Is all we can do is use the same logic to just, again, to just make sure that we're on the right side of the trade. If you're short, well, you're on the right side of the trade. You're below the T line, you're below the 5, you've got some divergence there indicating trend down. So that would indicate you're okay. And it doesn't matter what it is, it all works the same. So last time, we were talking about commodities, Rico, right? This is oil. This works on oil, works on everything. This is a chart that, if you guys know me, you've seen a million times. It's the oil chart. This is September 23 when you're at 90 some odd bucks and everyone's saying, hey, this thing is going to $100 probably this week. It's only 10 bucks away. And someone like me looks at it and goes, well, I don't know about that. So what do? I go to multiple time frames because that's how I'm wired, right? Let's find it. Here we go. So I look at the weekly chart and I see that. I see that doji at the top of a leg higher. Well, doji's at the top or bottom of anything. Here's another one here at the top. Here's another at the bottom. They typically indicate changes in direction. It's not the first time that these things have appeared in the history of the world in candlesticks. Japanese rice traders were using them 450 years ago. And guess what? They don't all look the same for a reason, because they tell a different story. And put together, they even tell a bigger story. But at the most simplistic level, this doji at the top of a bull run makes me raise an eyebrow, because that's not a candle that I want to long. It's a candle that makes me think I should probably short it. So let's peel back the onion. Where am I trading? Am I trading above the 20 and the 50 and the 200? I am. I'm trading above everything. So I see the doji, I can see the red kind of showing some selling. I'm thinking, well, if this is a short, which is looking like to me, where would it go? Well, it's going to want to revisit the 20 and or the 50 in there, because that's the next level down. And if it doesn't hold that, what's the next major moving average? Well, this is where you use long-term averages on commodities, because there's a ton of history. And, you know, my trainer said, hey, you want to be the only person in the room not making a mistake one day? Come with me. Showed me the 500 and 1,000-day moving average. I'm like, nobody uses that. That's crazy. He goes, oh, yeah? Watch. And I'm going to show you what he was talking about 25 years later. This is 1,000 days moving average on a weekly chart. Well, let's say it's 40 some odd years of price history. And, you know, you can see that it's been used as support and resistance many, many, many times, but nobody's looking at it. All right. So I know that if I break down at that doji candle and find the 20 and the 50 and I don't hold there, well, I got that 1,000-day like I was talking about and the 200 on the weekly. All right. So now you start looking to the left. And then, of course, there's the 500 down here, the pink. So now I start looking to the left. Where might price want to go? Where it's been before. So remember, we talk about these candles here in the bottom left. They kind of look like skis, and they have these two equal bottoms.
Yep.
Well, that automatically gets my attention, because I have seen many, many times where price likes to come back to those stupid candles. Why? I don't know, and I don't care. Is all I'm doing is I'm identifying that as a target, and ironically, it lines up with an incredible bench of past price,
Crazy.
both up and down at the same level. What was that number? 61.66. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't like this look here. I don't think you're going to 100. But, you know, I'm not saying you're going to hit 60 before you hit 100, but it feels like that. But what did the chart do in the end? Right? You kind of already know the answer to this, but what did it do? One weekly candle at a time, it broke down and it found that 20 like we said it was, right? That doji candle was the sign of a retracement or a fade. And, you know, there you go. You've got the divergence now facing down. You broke the 20. Now you find the 50. You broke the 50. You find the 1,000. And then you find the 200 here. Okay, now all of this divergence was telling you there's momentum to this move, obviously, right? And it's telling you that it's still in play. Look at these wicks testing these levels that we taught. There's a T line, a wick, and a fade. Where does it? That weekly candle closed right below the 5 EMA after wicking the T line. Now you're back to 1,000 again, and you can see that you were finding support there, right? Consolidation along the 200 and the 1,000 MA. You get a nice green candle, finally get a buy signal, and then what happens? It finds the 20 MA, which is a first touch, and it gets rejected. And break one level, find the next. Okay, so it failed the 20, obviously failing the 50. What did it find? The next level down. There's the wick. Right? So price is oscillating between these levels, right? Level by level. And it's trapping itself right now. It's trapped between 1,000 and 50 and 20. Now everybody gets excited, right? Start to move above. We got some, what was once resistance is now support. Things are great. Time to go back into oil. What do you think? Does it look sneakily suspicious? Kind of. And what have we done here? We've had a lower high. So as soon as I have an opportunity to do this, I'm doing it. I'm not living and dying by the trend line, but I think you're going to see how incredibly accurate this trend line actually was. So what are we going to do? We're going to rinse, repeat, right? Broke down. So in the breakdown, what are you looking for? You're looking for those major moving averages which are representations of time and price. And that's where price went back to. Right? So that's why you set targets. If you're short up there, because you recognize the doji and all that stuff, and you want to make a short trade, where would you be short to? I would be short to the 20 or the 50 as a target. Now you can take it all, you can take some, it's up to you, right? But this is where, if you're monitoring the trend, some might say you're staying in the trade too long, but if you're monitoring the trend and you know that the trend is still down, here you're coming back, so impulse down, sideways, back to these levels. What's in here? The 20 and the 50. So you know that's going to cause you some sort of support and or resistance, and because the trend is down, it was supposed to be support that it didn't get. Break one level, find the next. Break this level, find the next. Right? So now we got that rinse repeat thing going again. Everyone's excited. This is the one. No, it's not. We make another lower high, and we're going to rinse repeat. We fail there. We broke all of this, and you're going to look for the next level down. You find that, and you also find the next level down. But this is a green candle. So what? This is still diverged down, telling us the trend is still down. And this is a failed breakout, which means you're going to come back and take out the previous wave's low, which you do. This time you break 1,000 AMA in a different way. And it's like, you know, if you break your arm, there's like a minor break, right? And yeah, that kind of tells you a story. Yeah, you fell off your bike. But if you shatter your arm, you were either hit by a car or you fell off a building or something a lot more tragic. That's what this means when you fail that sort of support. There's a message in there. It's not a good one. Right? So now price melts again, still down. Nothing goes straight up or straight down. It's a process, right? Up and down. These are just red candles so far in a downtrend. Right? You test again, and there's one here that's going to be fascinating. It's coming up. There you go. So you're doing this kind of repeated process of testing and failing. This was an ugly fail. This one here, I don't even know can you guys even see this candle? So it's just basically one long wick with this very tiny.
You can't even see it really.
I know, it's almost impossible to see. That's about as close to a gravestone doji as you're ever going to see, right? To make it textbook, it would just, this little stick would need to be at the very bottom, but it's pretty damn close. The takeaway is the same. Nobody wanted to take price above the 200 on oil. So that candle, that is not a bullish candle. And here you go all over again. But keep in mind, we haven't found yet. So here we are again, rinse, repeat, right? Failure of the 50. Boom. There's your first hit of $61.66, which goes all the way back to here. And this support and averaging of support and resistance from years gone by. Well, someone's going to say, well, if you say it long enough, one day it might be true, right? But we have the receipts, right? We literally walked, just like we did when Bitcoin went to 30,000 and everyone thought I was insane. There's a reason why it went to 30,000. Just like there's a reason why this went to 61.66. And to me, it's not fundamental. It's all technical. The market discounts everything. Meanwhile, while the price of oil was falling at an unignorable pace, the analysts were, the long-term prospects for oil, they're strong. It's still, supply, demand, storage, this. Just shut up and learn how to read a chart and you'll probably be better off. Right? So here we go again. Are we done? No. We're going to take another run at it and fail. And here we are. Look how many times on the weekly we've hit 61, 66, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 14 times hitting it and sometimes beneath it. But is that it? Are we done? Is oil finished? Is this the bottom? Well, because we use fractals, we have another way of determining, right, whether or not we're done yet. So we showed you on the daily chart what that breakdown would look like. We showed you on the weekly chart, right? That doji that showed on the weekly here and how it would break down. Well, now we're showing you on the monthly. Because again, everything is fractal. What you see on one time frame, you're going to see on another. So as we've broken down over time here, if we actually go back, this is actually interesting, to August of 24, you actually had a sell signal here that hasn't been switched off, right? So this breakdown, now we're trading below everything with the exception of one thing that's yet to be tagged. And that's the 500 MA on the monthly chart. The 1000 MA doesn't have enough history to show up, obviously, on the monthly chart. That's why you don't see it. But it would be like way down here somewhere. So this is the only level that hasn't been tagged. Everything else has been tagged except this. Well, everyone's going to say, well, that's insane. Is it? Because, you know, you lay down with it over here back in 2020 for like 6 or 7 months, right? Is that weird? Or how about back here in 2016? Was that weird? Or what about back here? Right? Back here in 1999, or, you know, near here in 2001. The point being is, don't think that it can't happen again. I just showed you 5 times that it's happened again. And I believe that this is what it's looking for. This is the only thing remaining that it hasn't tagged in this breakdown. Now, I could be wrong. That's fine. Like your thesis is correct until the market proves you otherwise. That's okay. That's the benefit of getting to do this. You know, it's like being a weatherman. Wow, the wind blew the other way, so it changed the forecast. Simple, right? It's the same thing. You know, if the money all of a sudden decides to come in, it will change the direction that price has been moving. Right? But this has been a pretty clear example of price breaking down. And this trend line has just been spectacular. Like when you lay it down, you have no idea that it's going to be that true, but it's really true. This one has been. And I think you just look in here because we know what's in here.
Yeah. That's exactly. And you know, something you said really quick, right there, that you know, these little things catch my attention. Like, it's spectacular. Most people will see that downtrend and they're panicking or they're mad about it. That's what this stuff helps you do. Where most people are saying that looks horrible, we hate this downtrend, I can't believe it, everybody on Spaces lied to me, they said this, they said that. You could just be like, man, look how spectacular. Didn't you hear how authentic that sounded for him? Because if you monetize it, it changes the way that you look at it, right? So it's interesting. Like, a lot of times when, and I know all of us have been in this situation where, like, you know, you probably tell a friend or you tell nobody checks on you while the market's doing good, right? But the minute it goes down, it's almost like they want to hear bad news. Like, ooh, I heard that. Ooh, I heard the market is dumping. Are you okay? It's like, you're saying it like, I don't like in the tone that you're saying it, but I want to let you know that people do short the market. If you think that there's not somebody with a Kool-Aid smile, you know, from ear to ear when that wipeout happened last week, it just wasn't you. That doesn't mean that nobody's not happy about it.
No, that's right. And, you know, this is the XRP daily chart, just to give some context, because I know there's a lot of people that hold XRP.
Yeah, there is quite a bit. The XRP family, I don't know how they started pulling up to this channel, but there's actually been quite a few of them. I think a lot of, you know, they help out quite a bit with the numbers. They've been pulling up quite a bit.
Yeah, it's usually a pretty good crowd. To give you an example of, you know, advanced notice, the XRP chart, like literally 2-3 days prior, told you there was something up, right? So is that some guy behind a curtain in a black suit with a black hat, wearing black gloves, just pulling levers to screw you out of your trade? No, that's not it at all. What it is just the market telling you that there's enough selling here. And again, this is flat trading, right? This is consolidative. So there's enough selling here leading up to this point to condense all your moving averages, right? They come together. You'll see how close they are. So once that happens, it doesn't take much to pull it up or down and possibly trigger a signal like it did here. So is it the smart money that knows something's going on? Don't know. Is all I know is there's always someone that knows more than I do. But the advantage that we have is that we can see their fingerprints over everything, right? This is an example of that. This is an evident sell signal. You can kind of start to see the divergence take place, and then that pattern of testing and failing starts to appear, right? Hey, this is turning out to be not a bad short. And then wham, right? Bottom falls out. Do you think that the XRP price just stopped there because it was a good place to stop? Like, did someone wave a cab all of a sudden at that number, or what happened? How about this? That's 1,000 days of price history. That's what it hit. So in current prices looking for past, this thing couldn't find any support until here. And it had to turn back the pages to get there. Right? So in the event of price moving up or down, what's it looking for? Past price. Well, it didn't find any love in between, 280 and $1.17. There was nothing there. What did it sit on? What did it hit to finally get a rest and tag something meaningful? 1,000 days of price history. This is, again, why I'll tell you guys, there's nothing wrong with putting an order at a level that you think will never get hit, as long as it's a level that has some, construct behind it, that it's an actual level and not just a place and time, right? But you'll find that every once in a while they get hit. And, you would have had your orders filled at like $1.20, $1.18, something like that. And price snapped right back up. You literally doubled your money in the blink of an eye on that day. But, and this is going back to those Twitter spaces, right? Well, okay, XRP snapped back and, it didn't close all that low, blah, 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 blah. Is there more down to come? Well, the chart tells us there is, right? Because we can see that divergence.
Yep, 100%.
Right? And lo and behold, what did we do? We rolled over and we took out the previous wave's low. Right? A little bit of a reprieve, and now we're trying to figure out what's going on today. But still, this wave is still bullish. It seems ridiculously simple, but and hopefully it is, because it's intended to be that way. But is all we're doing is just listening to what the market's throwing at us, and we just have some parameters that help us determine what the heck it's telling us. Right? That's all. And the same stuff applies on every chart we look at. Like, here's Pirate Chain. So, that's your Pirate Chain chart. Not all that exciting until it is. Right now,
that looks good.
I love this kind of consolidation, right? Like, you're going to get signals in here because everything is so tight. The trading range is almost non-existent. But did you know before it went parabolic? Yeah, you absolutely did. 6 days before, you got a signal. You just don't know what comes after it. And sometimes you hook a runner like this. And this is the perfect example. You're gonna have someone yelling over your shoulder, you're in your pirate trade chain to trade too long. Am I? Really? Like, okay, you got in early. What's the chart telling you? The chart is telling you your friend's an idiot because this just kidding. Because this thing has just gone nowhere but up, right? Because you have a mechanism to monitor price. And just to give you, and credit to you for spotting this, here's our Bitcoin daily chart, right? There's the weekly chart. And then we have the monthly chart.
This one right here is crazy.
Take this off because it looks ridiculous. So, here's the monthly chart. And what does it tell us? Oh, it says, hey, back in 2023,
yeah,
in April, you could have bought me and then put your feet up on the desk.
Yep.
And not worry about a thing. So you can see all of the drama that we saw in those shorter time frames, even the weekly. What does that actually mean long term? Well, if you're a long-term investor, what does it mean? It means that this is the safe, profitable entry. This was the insurance you pay for the market to figure out what it wants to do.
Right.
That's your safe, profitable entry. And ever since that point, price has gone basically nowhere but up. And any kind of retracements have been either sideways or mild and held all of the key levels that we use to determine what the trend is. And here we are today. We're still in a bullish chart. We're trading above the 5 EMA and the T line. I don't like this doji so much, but it is what it is. The trend is still the trend is still up. Right now, this is, and I remember when we were doing the stream and you noticed it, you're like, oh my God, like not realizing that you could have saved yourself all kinds of stress. If you just would have bought the one time and just held it, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have paid any trading fees. You wouldn't.
I could have took up gardening if I wanted to, right? Yeah. I could have literally just got a nice bag. And look, a lot of people say, man, I wish I would have known at 30,000. I wish I would have known at 40,000. I wish I would have known at 50,000 and it was going to go to 126, hit an all-time high. In this stream right now, what we're telling you is something that I wish I would have had back then, is this information that you would have known at 22,000, and you could have been stuck up if you wanted to. You could have been like, all right, that's fine. I'm just going to be a little bit stuck up because that was a brutal bear market. So you're going to have to prove it to me. But, it bouncing from 15K and then you pay that insurance and you see it kind of going up. But at 22K, you actually get that buy signal. You could have waited and been stuck up to 25K if you wanted to. You could have waited to 30K, where eventually you would have been like, what, this thing is going up. And then now you're looking at it and you look like you got a phone call from you got a three-way call from Nancy Pelosi and Martha Stewart and yourself all on the line, and somehow you guys all knew to buy Bitcoin at 22,000. And most people wouldn't believe that trade. And this is the information I want you guys to have, because I want you guys to know that things don't only just go up, right? I went through a bear market, and I think part of my responsibility as having a YouTube channel is I know how much that hurted. That stressed me out. I would never, why would I have some kind of information that there's enough money out there for everybody. There's enough in the market. We don't even make a dent or move anything. So what difference does it make that if I let you guys know what could save you guys a lot of heartache, a lot of stress, and so I want you guys, so that, we would even when the bear market comes in, and we love blockchain technology, but things go, what goes up must come down. And when it comes down, I want to make sure that you guys have the ability to continue to still take care of your families, take care of your crypto projects. I know I see the Space Penguins in here. I see the Kendu fam in here. I see so many community members in here. And imagine if you're able to, on a wonderful CEX like BYD5 that you guys can use Blunt House's referral code or myself, and you guys can trade on there, but you guys can continue to print while, you love your whatever favorite project you love. And you don't have to get shooken out of the market. That last shakeout that happened that historical weekend, I'm in some whale groups, and there was some people that they literally deleted all their accounts. The bags that we know that they were associated with, because I'm in some whales groups that, we kind of hold some bags in multiple projects that we're familiar that, hey, we're kind of the whales in those projects or whatnot. So we have this group or whatever, but and I'm not going to put no names or say what groups or anything like that. But when that wipeout happened, those people just literally, the bags that they had, they dumped them and then they just left. And now you see markets recovering and all that stuff. And this is why this information I don't want people who have been supporting the channel to go through that, because when the market does turn around, you better have some kind of filter or something to slap yourself into reality and say, okay, I'll pay insurance here, but right there, that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
No, and so much of this is dependent upon where price has been before, at least in my opinion. And if I go back, just seems like way back here, but what we were doing in our other streams is I wanted to start to identify certain levels of price, and with the hope that we would come back in time and be able to see how relevant those levels were, right? So, we started kind of just connecting this area in here, connecting these candles tops and bottoms to this little point in the T-line and 5 EMA. That's what I'm trying to connect. I often connect those areas, but the hope is that over time we could demonstrate how these levels would be used as support and resistance, right? And how it would help us in our trading in real time. So, we just kind of move forward here, and you can start to see how these levels all of a sudden are starting to become kind of relevant areas of future support and resistance, again. And this is helpful to us because it creates ranges that we can then monetize. Right now, keep in mind, what are you looking for? You're going to see all this resistance up here, which is marked by this white line, horizontal line that we know is kind of a support and resistance area from the past. And it's proving to be problematic for current price. Price can't seem to get above it. It starts to roll over. You get a signal. That divergence opens up, and now you're into a different thing, right? You're breaking one range until you find another. Again, you can see how that range here now all of a sudden is resistance. Now you roll over again. There's your signal at a level of past price that for a couple weeks you just weren't capable of getting past. So you give up. There's your signal. Things roll over. Price goes down. There's your flush candle. There's your reentry. Failed breakout. Previous wave's low. Right? Did you notice something here? Even though you had this move higher and it looks like these two lines kissed, they didn't cross. Right? So you're still operating under that sell signal.
Yeah.
Right? Until you're not. The market will tell you when it's time to change gears. So this level here, structural, right? Look at, see all of these bases kind of line up here. So you know that this is a structural level. You fail it.
Right.
Took out the previous wave's lows. And now you see, you have to become indifferent to price, because if you're not indifferent to price, you'll become manic. Right?
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I'm short. I hate it. Oh my God, I'm long. I love it. It's not like, right? It's not like that. You have one job, monetize the chart. That's it. And you have two opportunities to do that. You can bet the price is going to go up, or you can bet that price is going to go down. And when the market's falling, then you're probably making more short trades than long trades. But if you don't feel comfortable shorting the market, then truly monetizing the chart in an efficient way will become problematic. So you really have to learn how to sell short, because you can make money in any kind of a market, up or down. Like, you really can. That's not BS. Yes, that's truth. Another example of the resistance from the previous levels. Right? And it just helps kind of put some context around where price is, because you understand that this has been a range of in the past. Look, again, you just wick that level. And this is months later. There's your two equal tops, right? Impulse up, and that's your reversal candle. And here you are. And, you know, take the noise out of it, go to a weekly. Might be a little more clear. And you can see how these levels have been really true as we move forward in time. Because current price is revisiting past price. That's what it's doing. Whether we identify that past price through locking in these ranges or by looking for benches of past price that will be, you know, price might be drawn to, or the moving averages themselves. Right? They're just tools that we can use to help us make sense of what we see going on. And once you have that understanding, things become less chaotic for you. They really do.
Thank you so much, Bill. Let's do one more giveaway for this community, and then we'll wrap it up. We put in a solid session today, 2.5 hours with this community, and I was just watching the chat. Their engagement was absolutely amazing.
Awesome. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it's so cool to have everybody pulling up, and I think they're absorbing it now. Don't beat yourself up. You're not supposed to get it right away. Don't worry.
That's right.
Like, keep letting it hit your ears and stuff, and you keep absorbing it. But I know there's going to be a moment in the market where you're like, I really am glad that I really locked in nonstop as far as absorbing some of that, because there's going to be a moment like that monthly chart we were showing you guys, and I was talking about with Blunt the other day on the session, and then the other day I was literally with my brother on the phone for over 2.5 hours, and he had me looking up gold, he had me looking up uranium, he had me looking up everything, because we were looking at everything on this monthly chart, and it was just crazy. Like, so if you guys are out there and you want to find out about, I'll show you guys really quick before we do this giveaway, and then we'll wrap this up. I appreciate you staying this long with us.
Oh, absolutely.
If you have to run, I understand, but we're gonna check this out, and then we'll do a giveaway, and we'll wrap this up. But I want to show you guys, like, this literally, I was with my brother. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It was like in every single way that you were looking at it. So, you got your gold right here, and you guys can check it out right here per ounce. I was like, okay. And we're just checking out stuff by the monthly. Check this out. Like, fam, this is free alpha right here. There's going to be a moment where if you lock in with this, and I'm going to give you guys his website link again, because you can do this too. The monthly chart told us to take a buy down here at $1,697. You could have, exactly what Blunt said earlier, that was like music to my ears. You could have put a beautiful long on there, and just let it sit. Put your feet up on your desk. You could have put your arms behind your head. You were like, oh my God, I'm about to run it up, and stayed in that trade. This is gold. And I got a whole little thing of tickers here because my brother was just going crazy. We'll look at one more, but I want to show you guys this monthly chart and how you guys can give yourself this opportunity to zoom way out. Don't get beat up over your head right away with a 1 minute chart. You're going to be irritated. Here goes some energy stocks right here. We're not even on crypto, but the monthly chart, when did it say to get in? $4.59. This bad boy's at $20. You could have traded that, right? Yeah. What's worth of Tesla? You guys love Tesla, right? Everybody's trading Tesla. Was there anything on Tesla that we could have did with Tesla where you could have looked like Rain Man on the monthly chart? Guess what? You could have been on Tesla. You could have put one of those options that I hear everybody talking about on Spaces. You could have put a trade at $200 Tesla over here and got that buy signal. Say, you know what? Send it, Rico. I got that blunt house indicator. This thing works. And you would have been looking like, and look, even with this pullback right here, and it was like, I'm sure that this is, again, first mouse, right? Remember, I'm telling you guys, right? You see it, right? This is first. And shout out to your friend that you said M's and W's. You see that nonstop.
David Elliott, yeah.
What was that?
David Steele Smith Elliott was who.
Yeah, David Steele Smith Elliott, man. Man, absolutely amazing. And here goes, the first mouse and the second mouse. But here goes on your Tesla. So if you guys are interested in this indicator and you guys are like, look, I don't need to be an overnight sensation with trading. I just need it to be like a part-time thing for myself. I actually want to be a swing trader. I don't want to do that day trading thing. It might be overwhelming. I think it might be good for a lot of people to start off like this, just so like that you can win some winning momentum. And then after you're done getting that momentum all built up because you're just like, okay, this is easy at this point. I'm getting in at $1. I'm still green up here at 3 something with this monthly chart. The way that you guys are going to do that is come over here, give Blunt House a follow. Make sure you guys tap in with him. We're going to do another giveaway right now. So make sure if you guys are listening on X right now, I'm giving you guys some more time to come over here to YouTube and put hashtag XPX. And that's how you guys can get in for the winnings of some more BNB. We're just giving it away. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. Just giving away BNB. See if you guys want to get into that 5K giveaway. But nonetheless,
I dropped in your Telegram a link to the script on TradingView because it's a private script. So I think in TG you should have a note there with the link to it, so that you can see what the script is actually giving you.
Okay.
Because it's different from the one you're using a little bit. So.
Okay. All right. It's in the Telegram now. I'll check it out after the stream. All right. So make sure you guys come check out these links as well. I mean, you guys these are all like non-KYC links. You guys can come check this out. You guys can go on Wix. You guys can do BYD5. You guys can do Blowfin. You guys can do XOLEX. So there's something here for everybody. Non-KYC exchanges. And to me, information, this knowledge is power. So obviously we're giving it to you guys in every which way possible. Where's the website? Just so like that you guys can also reach him down below very easily. You guys scroll down here and you guys better slide in his DMs. You guys talking to all these girls on Instagram and all this stuff like that. You guys need to get your bag up for a little bit. Okay, here we go. Let's go to this giveaway tool. You guys know we're having fun, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull one more winner. And then, we'll catch you guys in the Telegram after this amazing stream. I mean, it was super lit. Thank you, guys. So let's pull this one more time. If I win, I'll double it, and we'll do something cool with it.
How many viewers did you get?
Right now, we're over 1,100. So
wow.
Yeah. And then right here, we got over 316 entries for the giveaway.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Paying them to win, Blunt. I'm literally twisting their arm and then putting money in their pocket so they can win, because it's like I just want everybody to win. I want my circle to have some winners. You know, I am a firm believer in keeping the karma good around you. Like, why not do good stuff? It's like it's just all good stuff in the pot. You're gonna get something good out of it.
Yeah.
So JAC Crypto, congratulations, fam. We'll see if we'll do another giveaway eventually in the future. Maybe next Wednesday with Blunt House. Maybe we can get you guys hyped up. Maybe we can see if we can get Blunt to do another indicator for somebody. And, the more people we get just touching it, that person tells the next person, that person tells the next person. And that's how we get a snowball effect on people, using the indicator and also really getting the tools that they need to not let the noise in the market scare them all about. Yes, no, thank you, JAC Crypto. What's your TG at handle? Because we're about to have JAC Crypto 1, JAC Crypto 2. Happens every time. I even try. I'm even being nice to the scammers. I'm telling them, like, don't even go make the fake accounts. Don't, just save your time. Save it for another stream, because I'm gonna get the funds to the right person. You guys got me once. That was good enough. All right. JAC Crypto, I'm going to give you a little bit more time. So like that, I don't end the stream on you and you don't get your winning, because it's important to get that. So make sure you guys give me a follow while I'm waiting for him to post that TG at handle. Come over here, give me a follow at Rico Moneybags. Super, super important. Giving me a follow. Support this channel. This channel supports everything you guys got going on. Whether you guys are buying, the cool meme coin on Sui, whether you guys are going to meet me in San Diego, because we got the merch already being sent over there for the venue at the Skylight venue to promote more XPX, right? We're going to have a table there. I want to be able to give out some swag and stuff, talk to people about XPX, break out of just only Web3. We want to meet people on boots on the ground and stuff. Whatever you guys got going on, this channel supports your guys' movement. The more people that we support and push on this, the bigger this thing's going to grow, the more effective your 60-hour work week and your favorite project goes further. And that's really what it's all about. I can't do it on my own. All right. So we got at Crypto Night 150. Okay, cool. Appreciate it, man. So without no further ado, man, this was a fantastic stream. Blunt, thank you so much for pulling up. This was
thanks for having me. I enjoy it.
Oh my God, I had such a good time. It was so good to just go over these things with everybody. So many different people pulling up to see the numbers, to see the engagement. It goes a long way. And then it was like the perfect day because this was the shakeout of shakeouts. You know, you got the Fed talking, you got noise, and notice if everybody's listening, notice in this chat, we didn't really mention the noise nor care about that stuff that much.
Yeah.
And you know, they're always not going to have the best news. Okay. So you might as well figure out how to do this on your own and not wait for somebody to tell you what to do on, you know, whatever news channel you guys watch. So Blunt, I have to say thank you again. I'm sure I'm going to say thank you for the community as well. They can't say it, but I'm going to say thank you for them for doing this. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. I sent a link to our Telegram chat, which is free to join. So Rico, you'll have that in your DMs as well. If anybody wants to join, that's where you can get the link, or it might even find it on my X page. But it's a free group, and if you're interested in technical analysis, you might find it useful. So you're all welcome.
Awesome. Yes, definitely. If you guys are in the Money Bags Mansion, I'm going to share that link after the stream. I'm on this laptop. We got another one to our right that we do all our Telegram stuff on because, of course, we're working overtime on the overtime, and 2 laptops are better than 1 laptop. So after the stream, if you guys are in that Money Bags Mansion, I'm actually going to share that link with you guys up in there as well. So you guys make sure you guys don't miss out on that, even for the listeners that are listening later on. So thank you guys so much. Also join the XPX Telegram. You guys, 5K giveaway sitting on the table. You know, we've been around already over 16 months. We're here to stay. We got this venue going on in San Diego where we're going to talk to more people. You know, XPX is not just for us in Web3, it's for businesses as well, right? So people who want to accept cryptocurrency in their business, they can do that. So how do we talk to these people? It's by getting out there. So we're going to be at a business with other crypto projects there, and we're going to be helping people learn about off-ramping their crypto, whether they're an individual and want to off-ramp it, or they're a business and want to accept it, or a business that already is accepting crypto but now wants to upgrade a business account and take it to the next level by doing payroll, which, fam, whether I do this or XPX does this or not, this is going to be part of the space. So having a bag in XPX super early when we know that there's going to come a time where employers are going to say, hey, do you want a percentage of your salary in cryptocurrency? Well, they're not going to build the infrastructure and the portal and the back end for that. They're going to look for somebody who already has, you know, well over 6 figures in paid orders, eventually over 7 figures, 8 figures in paid orders that has proof of work. And that's what we're building up right now. So when that moment happens, we already have the tools for when franchises are going to start offering these employees, hey, maybe you want a portion of your salary in crypto. They're not going to want to build that on their own. They're going to want to look for something that's already doing that. And we are already doing that today. So thank you guys so much for pulling up to the stream. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys can't do that, continue to come back, experience abundance of money with me. Until next time, you guys know what it is. Thank you guys so much. Later, fam.
Bye-bye.